Sorry to interrupt everybody. We are having rehearsal before we get on the air, and the rehearsal continues because we have a familiar friend who has dropped in this morning, and
man,
I'll tell you who he is after I tell you welcome to Breakfast with Roger and Friends. I'm Roger, and there's Teri Chamberlain. Good morning, Teri.
Good morning.
Terry.
And Mike Olson, well-known
morning,
Peoria
Roger.
coach, and the special friend of the program, and he's been here before, and he has experience in broadcasting.
Yep.
And ladies and gentlemen, it's Harry Carey. No, I mean John Disharoon. I'm sorry.
The Cubs are going to take it all the way this year, Michael.
Hey, let's have a.
You know what? Once in a while, and I haven't done it for over 2 years. Speaking of Harry Carey, we are friends of Dutchie Carey. Got acquainted when she came to Peoria, I think, when we dedicated the Pete Van Auken statue.
Yep.
And we kind of stayed in touch with one another. So I decided to find out whether she is still alive. And she is.
She is.
She's 96. So I'm going to try to call today. The last time I called, which was 2 years ago, a guy said, who's calling? I said, Roger Monroe, a friend of Pete Van Auken's.
You're in.
And that
You're in. That's all you have to say.
exactly.
96, so
yeah.
she's your age.
No, I'm not there yet. I got 4 more years.
You want a little older woman,
Four more
a little
years.
more experience.
Yeah, you bet. Well, John, how you been?
I've been outstanding, Roger. Thank you for asking.
Good, yeah. You do a lot of traveling, but you, despite all your travels, you do manage to get in a round of golf now and then, do you not?
That's what I do in retirement. I
Yeah.
do projects and I golf.
Yeah. What kind of projects do you do?
Oh, I'm helping a friend, neighbor with a deck right now. Installed a couple of doors for my sisters earlier when I got back this year.
I tell you.
Helped a
Are you
friend
one of
move.
these guys that can do everything? I am very envious of people who can do that sort of thing.
I'm one of these
I don't
guys
do
that
anything
does
really
nothing.
well, but I can do a lot.
Is that the old saying, jack of all trades, master of none?
Exactly.
Very, very
You know, guys like you are very humble, however. Oh, like I had a friend who was an auto mechanic who worked for Bill Rutherford out at the Wildlife Prairie Park, working on their cars and so forth. And he retired from a dealership on University and Ward Drive.
Beachlers.
What was it?
Beachlers.
No, that Beachlers is the gas station. This was a car dealership.
Oh, Manning McComb.
No, on the other corner.
That was
See,
Macomb, too.
that's off.
But that was
No,
Oh, no, it was the
a
Dodge dealer. Yeah.
Exactly right. It was a Dodge
It was
dealer.
the Chrysler
Probably
Dodge dealer.
And he worked there. But what was the
Parkway.
name?
Parkway.
Parkway, exactly. Well, he
Chrysler
worked
Parkway.
there, and then he retired, and he lived on North Street. Harry Washburn was his name. It's amazing I can remember his name after all these years. One of the nicest guys you ever met. And I don't know how I met him. Maybe Bill Rutherford told me one day about him and so forth.
something done.
But he was the kind of guy that I'd call him up and say, Harry, can I bring my car over? I think I need such and such. Well, he would be very humble and very modest. Well, I'll take a look at it, Roger, but I can't make any promises. And he'd look under the hood, and next thing you know, he said, yeah, I think I know what the problem is. And he knew what the problem was just from my description, and he did it for, like next to nothing, because in his garage, he had every tool you ever wanted. You didn't have to go to Menards or Menards, as I call them, or Lowe's
Menards.
or AutoZone, and they weren't even around in those days. So I think you probably are that personality is that, well, I'm not very good, but I'll help you out.
I'll take a look at it. We'll see if we can
We'll
figure it
see
out.
what we can do. Exactly right. By the way, you had mentioned, I wanted to say this on the air about the home run derby that you watch. Who won? You're going to report on it.
Yeah, I'll report on it, but Cardinal won it.
Wynn, was his name Wynn or Walker?
Walker.
Oh, he's a horse.
Jordan Walker, 6'6".
Yeah,
Big right fielder, yeah.
He is a horse. He's worthwhile going to. He's kind of like the Albert Pujols of today's
Pretty
St.
nice
Louis
young
Cardinals.
man. His family, his dad was there, his mother was there, and they got interviewed. After.
How old is Walker?
I would say 23, 24. No old.
He looks like he's about 35.
Yeah, no, he's not very old.
Is he going to put up Mark McGwire numbers?
Well, we'll see. He's having a good year. He's at like 29 or 30, I think, right now.
Yeah, it was amazing. But I also wanted to mention, I was listening, I won't say which station it was, but it was a talk station briefly yesterday to the news, and the young kid doing the news said the son of well-known baseball home run hitter Jim Thome was drafted by the White Sox.
No relation to Tommy.
Yeah, no relation to Tommy. I said, how can you live and report in Central Illinois and not know how to pronounce Jim Tomey's name? And it's the same station years ago that hired a young lady, and she called Bob Michelle. And I thought, and if you don't know, one of the adages in broadcasting, I've been doing this for over 70 years, if you don't know a guy's name, don't guess, or a woman. Now, that's not to say I haven't mispronounced some names, particularly when it comes to tennis players from...
or hockey players.
Or hockey puck and so forth.
E. Herbert.
Yeah. Yeah, that's,
that, Mike?
That's a good one.
Yeah. I had a good one time. I got to think of it right now. A young boy came in, looked like freshman at Central, and he goes, "Mr. Olson, you played a little hockey, didn't you?" I said, "I played coach for one of the original teams here in town." And he goes, "God, I'm stalling here trying to." But anyway, he totally mispronounced. He knew the player, but he totally mispronounced it. I hear him telling him a hockey guy, and it took me about a minute or two to come up with the guy's name. But it was once again one of those French names, and he pronounced it,
So bad you didn't know who it was.
Well, I didn't know who it was. Finally, I said, I think you pronounce that this way. I tried not to be. But maybe I'll think of it.
It happens to all of us.
I'm on the air right now, so
it is amazing that Dr. Sidler can come up with the names of some of these tennis players, and some of the golfers as well have foreign names, and there's
a lot of
two ways
foreigners
to
on
pronounce
the
them.
tours.
But at any rate,
Sidler's got to be the smartest guy in the Tri-County area.
yeah, he is something. Isn't he? Yeah.
He just,
Well, hey, he proved that when he was on the Bradley
GE College Bowl.
College Bowl. I remember watching that. I really do.
And they defeated a medical center or educational facility that's sometimes mispronounced. Instead of Johns Hopkins, they'll say John Hopkins. You remember John, don't you?
didn't he sign the Declaration of
Declaration.
Independence?
Yeah. Hey, we're talking about news, so let's get into the
Roger,
news.
can I get this in? I got it.
Yes.
He says, you know this player by the name of Lemonex? You call him Lemonex. It's Lemieux.
Lemieux.
He goes, Lemonex.
That certainly is
Doesn't sound like a drink or something.
Does it have raspberry in it?
Yeah.
And that's French-Canadian,
That's
isn't
French.
it?
Yeah. Well, there's a
You
lot.
bet.
There's all
Mario Lemieux.
Yeah. All right, let's do the news. Ladies and gentlemen, we start with a check of the weather brought to you by insurance specialist Kyle Varno. Kyle, available to answer your questions and inquiries about homeowners, car, truck, any vehicle plus health and life coverage. And you can reach Kyle at 309-682-0519. Well, I don't know about you, John. You came all the way from Fulton County, but there are patches, areas of fog in central Illinois. Interesting, when I came off at Queenwood and got on 155, as I do every morning, on the left side of the road, which would be the western side of 155, there was such a low, thick area of fog that it looked like a lake. When I first looked at it, I said,
I've seen that.
that's
right
strange. Am I having a hallucination?
Is it that time?
Or a hallucination. But on the
there. Getting to some bad breakfast.
well, I've had that too. But on the right side, the east side of the road, clear as a bell. And then you go a little bit further as you get into East Peoria, again on the right side of the road, fog. So did you have any fog in Fulton County at
We
all?
had Fulton County fog all the way until I-74, coming off 474
So
Route 6.
you really, on a 2-lane road, that's bad.
Yeah, and in fact, there was a couple. I was taking a dear family friend to the airport this morning. There was a couple walking on the road, on Weematuck Road, and I
Jeez.
came right up on them. No reflectors, nothing. And my lights hit them about 20 feet away, and I went over, but I was like, man, that's how you
That's
get hit.
And
That's
were
exactly how you
they
get hit.
walking in the wrong direction? Where
They're walking with traffic, not
Yeah.
coming
Yeah,
at
and that's
you.
even-
That's
yeah.
the
I
one
see
gets
that
Strike
all
one.
the time, and I went. Some gal early one morning was doing that, and I wanted to slow down and say, "Ma'am, you need to be on the other side of the road." And then I thought, you know what? If I say anything, she's liable to get on the phone and say some man in a red Cadillac accosted me on the road,
gonna get pulled over.
and then I get pulled off, and it's her word against mine. So I kept going and said a little prayer for her. Well, here's today's live weather forecast this morning. As we say, areas of fog. Otherwise, today sunny and hot, 93 with a heat index of 100. Tonight's low overnight, 72 tomorrow. We have more fog forecast, areas of fog, sunny and hot, 94 with a heat index 101.
Getting there.
On Thursday, it'll be 94. And Friday, good chance for showers. Pretty good chance for showers and thunderstorms on Friday and Friday night, and the high Friday, 92. Saturday, we're at 93. So heat wave is rolling into central Illinois, so be careful out there. Currently, our temperature is 69 degrees. Now the news with Terry and John this morning.
The tributes for Senator Lindsey Graham continue to pour in from all over the country and the world. The 71-year-old South Carolina senator died Saturday from a cardiac incident involving a tear of the aortic artery. Questions immediately arose as to who would replace him in the Senate. They've been answered with the appointment of his sister, Darlene Graham Nordone, by South Carolina Governor Henry McMaster. She will be sworn in as senator at 1:30 this afternoon by Vice President J.D. Vance. Graham was close to his sister. He adopted her after their parents died while they were young. She will serve the rest of Graham's term, which will end in 2027.
In the meantime, Roger, Republicans will hold a primary election August 11th to select the nominee for the next 6-year term. Graham's sister so far has not indicated whether she will file to be on the November 3rd ballot. At least 3 other Republicans have expressed interest. Whoever wins will be opposed in the general election by Democrat nominee Dr. Annie Andrews of South Carolina.
President Trump yesterday promised more bombing attacks in Iran during the night. Frustrated by Iran's unwillingness to work toward a peace agreement, the president said that leaders apparently only understand military action and devastation. U.S. military leaders say they've introduced a new warfare weapon, sea drones. The unmanned surface vessels are capable of carrying payloads up to 1,000 pounds. 3 of the vessels were used to destroy an Iranian midget submarine and a ship maintenance facility.
Is that an appropriate term, a midget submarine, or just a...
Probably not.
You know,
Just
I thought that when I wrote that, I thought, can I get away with that? But I guess if you're talking about subs, it's okay to say midget.
It's a short person submarine.
Yeah. Well, it sounds more official rather than say a short submarine
I think I,
or a little
I think
submarine.
I was in an actual submarine one time up at the Science of.
Museum of Science
Industry
and Industry used to
Museum.
have a
And
sub.
I'll tell you one thing: if you're over 5'8", boy, I tell you,
It's tight.
You
Yeah.
better be able to
A
bend
common word that you hear in the sub is "ouch."
over. I mean, man, it was. I mean,
It's tiny.
I'm maybe 5'9" now. They straightened my knees out a little.
On a
now.
good day.
I'm not as bullet as I
That's
used to be.
good.
So I'm maybe a true 5'9" that I used to list at it, but you got to watch your head. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
In local news, Bradley University President Jim Shadid made it official yesterday as he announced a $25 million project to renovate Harper Hall, which has got to have been there since like 1890, I think, on the school's campus. Shadid, appearing on Rogers' program last Friday, talked about the need to improve campus living for students.
The two-year construction will provide beautifully designed and appointed facilities, including private in-suite bathrooms. Oh, that would be nice.
Yeah.
Study lounges, wellness rooms, and more. The project coincides with developments of the Golden Gateway entrance to the campus at University of Maine, which he also described to our audience.
Now, is that the Ken Golden Gateway?
Yes, it
That's
is.
what it is, Ken and Pat Golden. I'm going to assume you knew Ken Golden.
absolutely.
Everybody knew
Well,
Ken
everybody
Golden.
knew Ken Golden.
And I didn't realize that Pat was a longtime Bradley University employee as well.
Yeah.
She did a lot in housing, as I understand.
He ran the business office for years,
He ran
didn't he?
a lot of things, guys.
Yeah.
He did.
And he hosted the Bradley luncheons during the basketball season.
Yeah.
Great sense of humor.
And a pretty good card player.
I did not know
I
that.
played
yeah.
cards with him for a lot of years.
He was,
Oh, I thought you said guitar player. Card player.
Card
player, yeah.
Yes, he
Jimmy's Lock
was
Shop. How about
well
Jimmy's Lock
known.
Shop?
Well known.
I plead the fifth.
Okay.
Peoria police are looking for a missing woman and is asking for the public's help. The subject of the search is a 59-year-old Shirley Baptist. She's described as 5'5" with long gray hair and hazel eyes. If you can help find her, call police at 309-494-8357.
Peoria police are also searching for two suspects who apparently grabbed some money from an ATM machine at Peoria Community Bank in the Metro Center. An alarm sounded when the two used a vehicle to damage the banking unit enough to access some cash. The break-in happened around 3:30 yesterday morning.
And two young teenagers were apprehended after they attempted to rob a 74-year-old man last Friday in the area of Knoxville and Thrush near the McDonald's restaurant. They fled after not being able to get anything from the elderly victim. The two, a 15 and 13-year-old, were captured by police. The older teen went to the juvie center, charged with attempted robbery, while the 13-year-old went home to try again later.
problem we're dealing with.
You know, interestingly, and we don't have the story, but they had a school board meeting last night. They had an agency and a well-known community leader who's attempting to reach out and touch the lives of young people before they commit crime. And that program's been around for years and years. I think it's called the Elite Program. And I'm going to tell you something. You know, you can give money, but if you aren't showing results, you don't deserve the money. I'm not saying they don't deserve the money, but we have more young kids today running around carrying guns, 13 years of age, for crying out loud, and it ain't working, folks. You got to come up with another program besides throwing money left and right at this person or that agency or whatever. And this is one of the reasons why government and some people, whether it's local government, state, or federal government, are asking for results. What kind of results are you getting? Hey, well, maybe you need to try a different approach.
We're supposed to measure that? Just give us the grant.
Yeah, exactly right. And sometimes what I worry about, it goes more for salaries than reaching out to touch the lives of young people. I still say one of the best ways you can do something to help our young people is have a rebirth of scouting programs. I remember when I grew up, I think virtually every neighborhood in the city of Peoria had a Boy Scout troop, and it was usually based at a church. In my case, it was at Madison Avenue Methodist Church, and I can remember this day, Tony Push was my scoutmaster, and he was a wonderful gentleman, and later on, I helped start a group at the Methodist Church in downtown Peoria, and 20 of the 22 kids we had were from Taft homes. And I loved what I did. I loved what they did. But you don't see or hear much about WD Boys Scout program in Peoria
And
anymore.
I'd like to add right to that, I think we need more programs during the summer for our young kids.
Yeah. Do you remember when we used to have recreational programs
that's
at all the
exactly what I'm
schools?
talking about, Roger.
Yeah.
You would do crafts and you would do paintings and then they would have maybe box hockey. I don't know if you ever played.
Or they would say, "What do you want? We got basketball," or "I want a football."
Whatever it is.
Yeah.
We had
They-
300,
did a
300
softball,
kids playing West Peoria Little League. And that was just West Peoria.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had at one time, guys, when they had the city Little League tournament, I think there was 14 to 16 teams, all-star teams. From, TJ had their own program. Woodrow Wilson had their own program. Keller had their own program. These were sites that the Park District hired
Yeah,
basically
yeah.
Herky Field, Bruce Sowers, and those guys started that. They all had a high school coach that basically assistant or varsity coach, Russell Field. That's where Stonebach had a lot of success down there.
Oh.
In State Park, Porky Brooks, Alexander down at.
So we had a lot of neighborhood programs. We don't have that
we don't
anymore.
have them.
Yeah.
We don't have
And
them.
that's
So they
unfortunate.
find other things to do.
All right, any other stories?
Yeah, Ameren reports some 1,700 customers in Creve Coeur lost power around 5:30 yesterday afternoon. No report on the cause, but workers were on the scene.
And Peoria County officials reported 2-vehicle crash involving an idiot truck. Oh, excuse me, an IDOT truck. Wow. That was
By the way, let me give you John's phone number.
that was a brain slip. An IDOT truck last night at Smithville and Stone School Roads. Hazmat team from the Peoria Fire Department was called to the scene due to the presence of some hazardous materials. There were minor injuries, but no details were provided. And that's the news.
And that's the news. We have more news coming your way from WCBU, brought to you by Bob Manning, Senior Vice President and Financial Advisor with Morgan Stanley Smith Barney, LLC, and SIPC. Bob, located in downtown Peoria in the One Technology Building, and you reach him by phone at area code 309-671-4653. And, well, I thought we had news from WCBU, but we don't. It disappeared. In the meantime, let's just turn things over to Mike Olson with sports. Good morning, Mike.
Thank you. Well, nice to see John today. Always good to see Terry and Roger. And hopefully we got a good listening crowd today. But I really enjoyed. I've never watched. I think the whole
Home run derby.
home run derby.
Yeah.
You know, either got home late from a game or, I've always seen some of it, and of course highlights. But last night was kind of a Monday night. There's not a lot going on.
No, there isn't. You're right.
But really a good home run derby. Featured a couple of ex-Cubs, Schwarber.
Kyle Schwarber, yeah.
And then, of course, Wilson Contreras. In fact, they met in the semifinals, believe it or not, and Schwarber won. And then Schwarber had to meet a young man by the name of Jordan Walker from the Cardinals, and our Cardinal fans would know Jordan well. He's having a great year. He's got probably about 29 home runs already, and he's 6'6".
He's a big kid.
Well, the stage for baseball is so big, relatively versus the basketball size gym or the hockey rink either. But you don't realize how big a lot of those players are. You look at them, they look average sized, and then you see them standing next to somebody else. He towered over Schwarber, and he towered over the.
He towered over the umpire when he comes to the plate.
Right. Maybe it intimidates him, but anyway, Jordan Walker, he was down 12 because Schwarber went first and did a great job. He had 12 home runs out of 15 swings. 12 home runs.
Wow.
So I thought he'd win it. And he's from playing with Philadelphia now, and was in Philadelphia. So poor Walker gets up. Man, they clap every time he doesn't get a home run. It's just the opposite of what they were doing. But you could tell the kid wasn't overly affected by it. And I think sometimes the real athletes enjoy that. Let's shut the peanut gallery up a little bit. And anyway, he was losing like. I want to say.
Well, you said Schwarber had 12 out of 15.
Well, he actually had 11. I'm sorry, 11 out of 15.
Okay.
So he was losing 11-8, and he got down to the last. You get one swing. He got one swing left out of his 15. He hits a home run. So now he's down like 2 or 3. So if you hit a home run in the last one, you get to keep going until you don't hit a home run.
Oh,
He had 4 home runs in a row.
And one.
And won.
No kidding.
He snagged victory from the jaws
of defeat, and
Yeah.
before a Philadelphia crowd that isn't always the friendliest in the world
but
either.
He deserved it, and
Schwarber's the hometown king there, right?
that's right.
Yeah.
That's what I'm getting at. That's that. No, and they cheered loudly, and it was full. If they've got 48,000 seats in that New Philadelphia ballpark.
Yeah, and it helps to have a hometown hero
Yeah.
As part of the competition.
And then they also had that Harper guy too. He was in it, but he didn't do quite as well. But in fact, Schwarber ended up nipping him to get in the Final Four.
Did the Cub outfielder, was he in the home run competition?
No.
Armstrong?
No.
Okay.
Wilson Contreras and Schwarber, two ex-Cubs were. Jordan Walker, a real good hitter from.
Now, wait a minute. Let's
Tampa
go
Bay.
back to Wilson Contreras. One of the Contreras plays for Milwaukee. I thought the other one was in the American League.
Yeah, well, Wilson is the older one.
And he's a former
So
Cub.
He's
he
a
is
former
Cub.
former Cub.
Okay, what's the Contreras that plays for Milwaukee?
William
William, okay.
Contreras. But
So it was Wilson who was in the
and
competition.
he's currently with Boston.
Yeah.
Boston.
Yeah. Last year he was with another different team.
Contreras was with the Cardinals for a while.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I thought
And
he
that
had
did-
another stop before.
He might
wasn't
have-
didn't he go to the Yankees temporarily? Well, anyway, who cares?
Yeah.
He's no longer with the Cubs.
Roger cares because he's asking about it.
Yeah.
Well, the other story I really enjoyed over the weekend was Jim Tomey's.
No, that's Jim Thome.
Yeah. Jim Tomey's son, Landon Tomey, who I followed a little bit over the last couple of years. He's been one of the better players in high school in the state of Illinois, and I think he was actually named the state of Illinois high school player of the year by, I think it's Gatorade gives that award out. But anyway, Landon was a first-round pick of the Chicago White Sox. 34. They had two first-round picks, and the first one was Rock Chalowski from UCLA, the Big Ten, and he's originally from Phoenix, Arizona, and he actually was a defensive back for Tim Doherty, who was a Spalding graduate, and then coached football, I believe, at both Bergen and a little bit with us at Central, and then went down to Edwards.
See, that's a local connection that
Another
too
local
many
connection.
people know about.
Because
Mike.
I'm still in. He's actually coaching football down in Texas now. No, Arizona, and he texted me. He said, "Yeah, that kid played strong safety for me
Interesting.
at Hamilton High School in the suburban Phoenix area." But no, we've got a lot of connections out there. And anyway, Landon, it'd be interesting. He's signed a college letter of commitment to go to Florida State. So
Seminole.
yeah, which is an outstanding baseball program.
Now, you said he got drafted
Yeah.
by a major league team, and you can still go to college and
Yeah, if
and
you're only
play.
drafted now, he's got to make that decision now. Yeah.
That's what I'm going to say. You can't do both.
You can't do
can't
both.
play college ball and sign a professional contract.
Right. And the only thing now, some of the guys that are playing pro ball, because the colleges are not exactly, they're not exactly amateur much anymore. If you count millions of dollars.
You make more in mill than you do as a minor league contract.
No,
They're
you're
allowing
right. You're
former
exactly right,
minor
yeah.
league players, if you did not sign did not play in the major leagues, to play college baseball.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't want to miss it, but I forgot it. I'll get the other one I have. Travis Lutz is from Limestone.
Mm-hmm.
He was a 17th round pick of the Cleveland Guardians.
No
And he's a
kidding.
former Peoria Merchant.
Yeah,
and he's
played for you, didn't he?
Played for us, like your grandson did. And he played at Limestone Little League. See, what I get tired of, you'll read it. Well, he played a couple years at Bradley. Yeah, he did. He went to Lamar this past year down in Texas. What they call it, transfer portal.
Right.
When they fired the other coach and their other coach retired, and so a lot of that's when a lot of kids move because they're leery about who the new coach is going to be and whether he'll be in their plans. But Travis out of Lamar is at Lamar, but he also played Sunday morning league. And like I said, people want to just claim one. Well, he played 1 year at Lamar. Lamar's going to say, we had a draft pick. Well, you did, but what about the 8 years he played at Limestone High School?
He was developed in Peoria.
He was developed in the Peoria area.
Okay, what else do you have there?
Well,
my
the
friend?
World Cup is going on, and to me it was very interesting, but when we lost out, was it Belgium? I kind of lost a little interest.
A lot of people lost interest.
Well, I mean, I've never played an organized soccer game. I've played in.
They haven't either.
yeah. Well said.
And I just, but no, we're getting better. The number of people playing soccer in the United States grows almost exponentially every day, all the time. Now they're in the semifinals. Mm-hmm. France and Spain at 2:00 today. France and Spain. And then tomorrow, the other semifinal coming from Atlanta is Argentina with Messi against England, who also has I think his name is Kellen or something like that, big guy. And then there will be a third place game on Saturday, July 18th. That's this Saturday at 4. And then the championship match for the World Cup, which only comes once every 4 years, just like the Olympics, will be July 19th, a Sunday at 2:00. And that's sports on WAZU 90.7 FM in lovely Peoria, Illinois.
Perfect time in 6:30 and time for a news look at the news headlines. The people of Central Illinois are blessed with outstanding medical facilities and health specialists, and one of those, Advanced Medical Transport of Central Illinois, caring for people with the best health professionals, more than 500 AMT men and women serving you and your family. Saving lives is what they do. What we do is give you the news with Teri Chamberlain.
Tributes for Senator Lindsey Graham continue to pour in from all over the country and the world. The 71-year-old South Carolina senator died Saturday from a cardiac incident involving a tear of the aortic artery. Questions immediately arose as to who would replace him in the Senate. They've been answered with the appointment of his sister, Darlene Graham Nordone, by South Carolina Governor Henry McMaster. She will be sworn in as senator at 1:30 this afternoon by Vice President J.D. Vance. South Carolina Republicans will hold a primary election August 11th to select the nominee for the next 6-year term. Graham's sister so far has not indicated whether she will file to be on the November 3rd ballot. At least 3 other Republicans have expressed interest. Whoever wins will be opposed in the general election by Democrat nominee Dr. Annie Andrews. President Trump yesterday promised more bombings of Iran during the night. Frustrated by Iran's unwillingness to work toward a peace agreement, the president said the leaders apparently only understand military action and devastation. In local news, Bradley University President Jim Sheridan made it official yesterday as he announced a $25 million project to renovate Harper Hall on the school's campus. Sheridan, appearing on our program Friday, talked about the need to improve campus living for students. The 2-year construction will provide beautifully designed and appointed facilities, including private in-suite bathrooms, study lounges, wellness rooms, and more. The project coincides with developments of the Golden Gateway entrance to the campus at University in Maine, which he also described to our audience. Peoria police are looking for a missing woman and are asking for the public's help. The subject of the search is 59-year-old Shirley Baptist. She's described as 5'5" with long gray hair and hazel eyes. If you can help find her, call police at 309-494-8357. Peoria police are also searching for 2 suspects who apparently grabbed some money from an ATM machine at Peoria Community Bank in the Metro Center. An alarm sounded when the 2 used a vehicle to damage the banking unit enough to access some cash. The break-in happened around 3:30 yesterday morning. 2 young teenagers were apprehended after they attempted to rob a 74-year-old man last Friday in the area of Knoxville and Thrush near the McDonald's restaurant. They fled after not being able to get anything from the elderly victim. The 2, a 15 and 13-year-old, were captured by police. The older teen went to the juvie center charged with attempted robbery, while the 13-year-old went home. Ameren reports some 1,700 customers in Creve Coeur lost power around 5:30 yesterday. No report on the cause, but workers were on the scene. Peoria County officials report a 2-vehicle crash involving an IDOT truck last night at Smithville and Stone School Roads. A hazmat team from the Peoria Fire Department was called to the scene due to the presence of some hazardous materials. There were minor injuries, but no details provided. And those are the headlines, Roger.
Do they still have Ameren substation over at Northwoods.
They do.
It's still there because I remember a number of years ago a squirrel got in and lit up the sky, and the squirrel, and that knocked people without electricity for a
Oh,
while.
I remember
as
when
well.
we first moved out to where the house
You
is now
live
there
there.
in Northgate. You'd hear a pop,
Yeah,
and we'd lose power for a little bit. Squirrel got in the transformer.
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
it doesn't take much
Not a good place
anymore.
to land.
No.
All right, let's have a check of the weather this morning, brought to you by our friend Steve Sink of PHX Affiliates. That's the largest downstate Illinois brokerage firm headquartered right here in Peoria, Illinois, believe it or not. Steve specializes in business mergers and acquisitions and valuations, for that matter, and all things financial in that category. You can reach Steve at 309-696-8508. Neat guy. Weather's not so neat. This morning, areas of fog, scattered areas throughout central Illinois. Otherwise, today it'll be sunny and 93 with a heat index of 100, overnight low 72. Tomorrow, more fog, and many people do walk around sometimes in the fog, officially and unofficially. Particularly members of Congress. You know a little bit about that, wouldn't you, John? Anyway, what do we have tomorrow? Fog and 94, heat index 101. Thursday, we're up to 94. Friday, good chance for showers and thunderstorms. Be welcome relief, and a high of 92. Saturday, 93. So right now, our temperature standing at 69 degrees. And there you have a look at the weather on Breakfast with Roger and Friends this morning. And if you just joined us, John Disharoon has joined us as well. How many years did you work at Caterpillar, John?
34 and a half years, Roger.
Yeah.
We call it 35.
Now,
we round up.
out of that number, how many years did you actually work? No, I'm just kidding. Yeah.
Almost 40.
That's over
Yeah.
half.
Yeah.
I mean,
40,
come on.
Tom. 40, Mike.
I know that part of your responsibility was to meet with the government representatives, and namely members of Congress and so forth. And I was not surprised when I called and talked to you yesterday and asked, did you know Lindsey Graham? And you said yes. Tell us about your relationship, how you met him, when you met him, and what was the source of the meeting.
Sure. So Lindsey Graham came to Washington in the class of 1994, the Republican Revolution, when Newt Gingrich took over. When the Republicans got the majority for the first time in, I don't know, 50, 60 years.
Yeah.
So it was actually the same year that Ray LaHood went to Congress, when Bob Michel retired. And I was working in governmental affairs at Caterpillar, and so part of my job was to get to know the freshman members of Congress and establish relationships. Lindsey Graham was on both the Judiciary Committee as an attorney and the International Relations Committee. And we had a lot of work in front of international relations due to Caterpillar's trade. And that's where I met him. And I got to know him pretty well. He was a very likable guy, had a southern accent, and for whatever reason, we hit it off. Fast forward a little bit, when I left Washington in 1999 and moved to Brussels, Lindsey was one of 6 members of Congress that came to my going away party.
Really?
Which
is
is-
that, no kidding?
And I say that with pride because it's really
Well, I guess
something
so.
to have, of course Ray showed up because, he was our local guy, and I've known Ray since before he was in Congress. But Bill Archer, the chairman of the Ways and Means Committee, I had established a relationship with him. Lindsey Graham, who had gone on to chair the House Judiciary Committee. Henry Hyde was the chair at the time. You remember Henry Hyde from
Boy, that's a
Northern Illinois.
long-time name.
And he subsequently ran for the Senate when Strom Thurmond retired. Strom was like 100 years old.
I know.
And so when
On too long.
I
Yeah.
came back, I brought a delegation. This is in the early 2000s. I think Lindsey ran for the Senate to replace Strom in 2002 or 2003. I brought a delegation of European members of Parliament back, and we met with members of Congress, both in the House and the Senate, and Lindsey was newly elected to the Senate, and he took us into this ornate Senate room, treated us like kings. The members of European Parliament thought disharoon stuff didn't stink, because here we are just getting the red carpet rolled out. Lindsay addressed me by name. It was just a really cool
Well, I guess so.
relationship. And then, I started doing other things at CAT, and I didn't make it back to Washington as often as I did when I was a lobbyist. But he was just one of those guys that you get to know, and you were friends for life. A lot of Republicans in that early class of '94 loved him because he was kind of a firebrand. But then they hated him years later because he did a lot of work across the aisle. So there was this group they called the Three Amigos, and it was
Yeah.
Howard Lieberman
Yeah.
and
Who's
Lindsey
the third,
Graham,
Ray?
and the third was it wasn't Schumer.
I just heard it yesterday on one of the cable
it'll
networks.
come to me. And he was working on a bipartisan climate bill, a bipartisan budget bill. He was very he and Dick Durbin got along famously. In fact, Dick Durbin wrote a very nice tribute
to
him,
to Lindsey
which
Graham.
was, people are surprised when you see a Democrat reaching out to a Republican like that, but Lindsey was that guy. He was not a Trumper early on, but then he became a fan of the president. Pretty soon you get in line with your party. But I thought Lindsey Graham would have made an outstanding attorney general, and he floated his name up for it. But at the time, I think during the early Bush administration, they had Ashcroft, the senator from Missouri, and the Senate numbers were a little weak then, and they didn't want to lose that seat. And so they wanted Lindsey to stay in the
Stay
Senate
where he was,
as
yeah.
opposed to Missouri, which was kind of any Republican could win in Missouri at the time. But Lindsey had some pretty tough races over the years.
South Carolina.
Yeah,
in South
the
Carolina.
interesting thing about him that both Republicans and Democrats have talked about, that his technique, his personality in trying to be persuasive to what he was, quote, selling or attempting to achieve, he utilized humor. And they said he had a good sense of humor, and to break up maybe the intensity of the argument or whatever, he would neutralize it by, I don't know whether he told a joke or he was quick-witted or what, but that helped soften and create a more, shall we say, negotiable atmosphere politically, and he was very good at that.
He was, and Ray LaHood can probably tell you the story. If you guys remember back during the Clinton impeachment process, the House impeached President Clinton, and then the Senate, found him.
Waffled on it.
Yeah, not guilty or what. It wasn't even not guilty. I guess they found no ground for it. But Lindsey Graham was on the House Judiciary Committee. The way that works is each of the attorneys on the Judiciary Committee are what they call floor managers, managing the impeachment process in the House. So Henry Hyde chaired the committee. He was the lead prosecutor. But Lindsey Graham really ran the show. And he was very forthright that the president has to be held accountable and he shouldn't lie. But when they brought up all the sex stuff, Lindsey got really upset. And he goes, look, we're talking about a president that lied. This isn't, and I think he used the term patent place.
Yes, I do remember
And people
that.
are like,
You're
no,
right.
he had sex with an intern, this and that, and that. And Lindsey, in front of the cameras, and you guys ought to go back and look at this, he said, if every member of Congress and everybody in Washington, D.C. was indicted for having an affair with a staffer, wouldn't be a lot of you here. We're here to talk about the rule of law. And the room got quiet.
Yeah, I guess so.
And Ray was managing the proceedings, right? So he was in the chair of the gavel. He was playing Speaker of the House. He was cool, calm, collected Ray. Everybody liked him both sides of the aisle. So he ran the proceedings while Lindsey and the other Republicans on the Judiciary Committee were prosecuting the crimes, if you will. And you could just see the smile on Ray's face that, God, you love this guy. Because he's like, let's stick to the lawful facts of what was broken and not get into this, X-rated, book that everybody wants to talk
the
about.
patent place, you're right.
Yeah.
Well, Ray did mention yesterday that they came on board at the same time, the same year, and they
94.
became very good friends over the years. When was the last time that you had a conversation with Lindsey Graham, by any chance?
Boy, I tell you what, Roger, it was probably, we came back from Brussels in 26. I was appointed to a committee advising the Secretary of Commerce and the USTR that I sat on from probably 2008 until 2020. So I want to say before COVID, probably I mean, it's probably been 10 years now, right? 2016. God, it doesn't seem that long, but I've been retired for 5 years now. So.
Tell everybody, to some people, the word lobbyist has a mixed reaction. What exactly, as a lobbyist, was your function?
You know, we're educators. So many pieces of legislation move through the committees in Congress that any single representative can't, and their staff can't keep up with it. So you pick the bills that are important to you and your company, and you call on the representatives and their staff, and you just help them understand the bill. Why is this important? Why does Caterpillar, why does John Disharoon, Roger Monroe, why do you support this? Well, it's important for international trade, it's important for commerce, it's important for open markets, and this is what it means. This is the impact it will have on your constituents. We've got a facility in your district. We employ 5,000 people in your district. We've got 5,000 jobs dependent upon exports, and you let them know the relevance to that piece of legislation. And then you walk out and there's 20 guys waiting to talk about the importance of their legislation.
Interesting.
But the term lobbyist actually came from back in the early days of the Congress. People would hang out in the Washington Hotel, and members of Congress would travel to Washington.
Through the lobby?
They would stay there, and they would have drinks in the bar
lounge,
at the Washington Hotel.
Interesting.
And the people that wanted to petition Congress would hang out in the lobby, and they became known as lobbyists because they would catch the legislators
as
coming
they
and going.
went through the lobby. That is interesting.
I
I've
was
not
a
heard that
lobbyist
before.
when I would go to a baseball convention and wait for like a Tommy Lasorda to come in and just say hello to him, or some speakers that you might know, of, but you didn't know them, and try to get a little insight with them, and maybe set up some connections for your high school kids if they were college people.
Yeah, I mean, you're promoting your ideals.
We were lobbyists for our players. Yeah.
Yeah. On the other hand, you didn't have the budget that John Disharoon had.
I didn't buy too much. I guarantee.
Yeah.
I had just enough money to get there and maybe get back if I didn't squander some of it.
Yeah, as the profession kind of grew, even long before I got involved in it, primarily in the early 20th century, they started. You had to register as a lobbyist. You had to disclose finances with the campaign finance laws that have changed over the years. In order to petition a member of Congress, you have to disclose your budget and what you lobbied on. And so you'll see disclosures probably annually with Caterpillar, maybe quarterly, I don't remember now. I know they have to be filed quarterly. They probably only publish them annually, but it'll have the specific legislation, the bill number, who you talk to, how much money you contribute, how much you pay your staff. So Caterpillar has to disclose their entire government affairs budget, which I would tell you, at least when I was there, was minute compared to some of the other companies.
Yeah.
Because some companies go out and hire every law firm in Washington, every former member of Congress. Bob Michael made a hell of a living after he retired from Congress.
Yes, he did, because he was well liked and
he was
very
on counsel
influential.
at a very big law firm, and there's something to say about having the former Republican leader write a letter on your behalf to the Speaker of the House or the President of the Senate, and people pay big bucks for that.
Yeah, and for 10 points, name the Supreme Court Justice who at one time was a member of that law firm and an associate of Bob Michaels.
On the Supreme Court.
Republican, obviously.
Yeah. I would...
Take a shot at it.
Rehnquist.
No, John Roberts.
Oh, Roberts.
Is that right?
Yeah. I got a letter when I asked Bob to be the honorary chairman for raising money for the World War I and II War Memorial. I got a letter back from Bob after I called and asked him if he would do that. And the letter had John Roberts' name on it, and later I learned that he was obviously a part of the law firm. And Bob was too, but Bob wasn't a lawyer. But he was an influencer, as they now say, in many ways, shape and form, for that matter. Weather-wise, we can tell you it's going to be a hot one today. We have scattered areas of fog in central Illinois. The high today, 93, and right now we're at 70 degrees, and we're chatting with John Disharoon. What did you do when you went to Brussels?
So I was the director of public policy for Europe, Africa, the Middle East, and Russia.
Wow.
So I covered Greenland to China, essentially, and the Nordic countries all the way down to South Africa.
So you're the one that talked to Donald Trump about getting Greenland.
Strategically, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it does. Really. I was being facetious, but
No, it strategically makes a lot of sense, and Trump is not original in the idea that the U.S. ought to have control over that, because if we don't, then Russia does, and that
and
opens
that's
up-
not good.
No, that's not good for anybody.
Yeah, no, you're right.
But that strategic importance of Greenland goes all the way back to, probably the 1800s, when they started having shipping lanes going back and forth and having an outpost there.
Yeah. I hate to ask this question on the air, but I will. Since you spent how many years in Belgium?
I was there for 7 years.
7 years. Who did you root for in the game between the U.S. and Belgium?
So interestingly, that's a great question, Roger, because as you remember, both my children were born in Belgium.
I don't remember that.
They could have played on
Really?
the Belgian team. if they had
Yeah,
soccer.
so that made them, based on the Supreme Court, citizens of Belgium.
Well,
So your kids are not U.S. citizens.
Unfortunately, that decision doesn't have reciprocity with any
Oh,
other
okay.
country in the
Okay.
world.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Well, now you're getting picky.
so my son was home for July 4th. He was, at the lake. His home is Dallas, but he came home to see us for the weekend. And I said, Jack, so the U.S. is going to play Belgium. Who are you going to root for? And he's like, Dad, I'm rooting for America. They're going to lose, but I'm rooting
Well,
for
that's not a Belgium shirt you have on.
No,
Yeah.
I'm wearing the stars and stripes.
Yeah.
We loved our time in Belgium. Great country,
Great people.
great people. I've been back there many times since. It was a great period of my life, both professionally and personally, because we started our family there. I've got fond memories of Brussels, but now it's a good place to visit and come home. And frankly, I don't even want to do any more international travel. I want to go to national parks. I want to golf.
Good for you.
I want
yeah.
to fish.
Yeah.
I'm tired of
I'm the
airplanes.
same way. I have no desire to, I'm looking forward to a family wedding. One of my grandsons getting married out in Silverton, Colorado in September. And if you haven't been to northern Michigan, folks, you want to go up to northern Michigan
It'd be
this
a-
time of year.
Beautiful part.
Beautiful. I
Yeah.
mean, it's just
Especially if you like blueberries.
right. Oh, if you like blueberries, you can pick them and eat them. I used to pick them and eat them as fast as I pick them.
You don't have to go all the way to Maine, but you can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maine's got great blueberries.
Oh, yeah.
In fact, for Karen's 29th birthday this year,
Happy birthday.
we're taking a trip out to see the big trees in California.
Oh,
Well,
redwoods.
That's something I didn't get to do.
Yeah,
I've
and
been to California a number of times, but Yosemite is at the national park in California.
and Redwood Forest, and
Yeah.
we'll do all of it while we're out there. And
It's a great area.
she was like, kids, what do you want to do? You want to go to Italy? Do you want to go to Australia? You want to do it? And I'm like,
spend it right
no,
here.
I want to go to the Black Hills. And if you don't want to go to Mount Rushmore because they've decimated the granite, then let's go see the trees. But
Yep.
I'd just soon hop in my Jeep, take the top down, and
Yeah,
ride. Route
amen to
66.
that.
Oh, I agree.
You got it. All right, how about we're at that time this morning for our pet tip of the day with Louis Linder and company.
Today's pet tip is brought to you by Peoria Pet Crematory of Peoria and Lewiston, providing final care for family pets large and small, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Their phone number is 713-1898. That's 713-1898. More information is available at peoriapetcrematory.com.
Pet lovers are dedicated to their animals, all species from horses to turtles and of course cats and dogs. If you are a pet lover, learn these little known, somewhat amazing facts about your pet. There are nearly 82 million pet cats in the United States at the latest count. That doesn't include the pets that have been abandoned by their irresponsible owners who have tired of them and dumped them or moved and simply left them behind. This is a cruel and inhumane treatment of a domesticated pet. They were loved pets once and didn't ask for this treatment. Domestic cats left on their own in the wild do not do well. They become ill from eating diseased birds or rodents, infected from fighting off predators, and having wounds go untreated. Or they may become food for larger prey. If they were not spayed or neutered, then they breed, causing yet another set of problems. These cats form feral colonies and become a nuisance in neighborhoods because they are constantly looking for food, breeding, fighting, and spreading disease to other pets. If you suspect you have a feral cat colony in your neighborhood, contact a local rescue group to arrange the trapping, spaying or neutering, and tagging of these cats. While this is not an ideal solution, it is a humane way to deal with an ugly problem. Be a responsible citizen and pet owner. If you can no longer keep your pet and can't find it a home, then surrender it to a rescue group or take it to the local animal shelter. Please do not abandon it and make it someone else's problem. This whisker of information has been made possible by a grant from the Corporation for Public Broadcasting in partnership with Spot, Saving Pets One at a Time, and KSBR Studios. Produced by Joseph C. McGuire and theme music by Stuardo Glasser.
Today's Pet Tip has been brought to you by Peoria Pet Crematory of Peoria and Lewiston, providing final care for family pets, large and small, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Their phone number is 713-1898. That's 713-1898. More information is available at peoriapetcrematory.com.
Thank you, Louis Linder. We have 71 degrees now. You're having breakfast with Roger and Friends on WAZU, FM 90.7 in beautiful Peoria and Central Illinois, and also on YouTube. Glad to see everybody watching this morning. Thanks for being a part of our program. John Disharoon has joined us, and you know, years ago they used to see, we used to see posters and announcements. Join the Navy and see the world. Join Caterpillar and see the world. That's not the only place you've spent some time outside of the United States, is it, John?
No, I've probably been to 100 countries, Roger, by the time you add up all the passports.
Oh, you're kidding.
Yeah.
Pretty neat.
Not all of them I'd go back to, but
Yeah.
you know, work called and I responded.
Yeah, it kind of is a little reminder, and I think some of us don't realize how extensive the arms are of Caterpillar and the influence in the world. I mean, Caterpillar is known all over the world for that matter, and it's amazing. I know we get into the little financial aspects of it, but whoever thought that Caterpillar would soon be running around $1,000 a share, when at one time it was like $25 a share.
I told some that just the other day, $30, and just think, and they used to match that.
Yeah, I mean, it was...
They
What
still-
do you? I know you sit in the grandstand somewhat when it comes to the financial affairs of Caterpillar, but what has caused the Caterpillar stock to skyrocket? And that's just it's sort of like a rocket from Cape Canaveral.
Yeah, so it's doubled just in the last year, and it was high to begin with, right? I mean, Caterpillar stock used to be, in the old days, before you go back to, 3 or 4 chairmen ago, Jim Owens, I think, was the last guy that split the stock. He'd get up to 100, 105,
And it was split.
And the idea was we wanted it to be, wanted it to be a stock that people could buy.
That it was accessible to the general public.
Yeah.
You're right.
And
Can't
then-
be
Can't buy it
afforded.
now.
Yeah.
Can't do it now.
And then, things changed a little bit, and we had so much stock outstanding that they decided one way to raise shareholder equity would be to buy back shares. And so they were buying back shares when it was, 100, 120. And when up until Oberhelman said, that's the worst thing you can do with excess capital is rebuy your stock. You can invest in people, you can invest in plants, in products, but buying back stock doesn't make any difference. Well, somebody overruled him, and they started buying back stock, and then the price kept going up. And I said, why are you buying back stock at $250 when you could have bought it at $100?
Yeah,
And the previous chairman didn't want to do that.
Yeah,
Then
that's
it went from
interesting.
$250 to $350, and a bunch of people divested of it because like $350, we've never seen that. Then went $450, we've never seen that. Then $550, and then suddenly it's $1,000. So I think the biggest reason it's gone up as quick as it has is Caterpillar makes some of the best world-renowned power and energy systems. So large diesel engines.
I don't think people knew that. I didn't know that.
Large diesel engines provide clean, reliable power. And all these data centers and AI centers that they want to put in across the country, the grid that we've devastated in the United States by closing all these coal-fired power plants and trying to rely on solar and wind supplemental power, They need clean, reliable energy 24/7, and they can't get it from the grid. There just isn't enough there. We haven't had any new nuclear in the United States since the 70s, but we've shut down about a third of our power producing capability by shutting down coal plants. And so you can buy a diesel generator set that'll run off diesel fuel, natural gas, methane, any of your biogases. Will provide constant, reliable energy with no blips on the grid, no squirrels dropping on the lines, if you will, and they have constant power. And so CAT's been known for having these clean power operations for years, but now these data centers need them, and I think they're sold out on large engines for the next 3 years.
Wow, no wonder
And
the
so
stock.
they've got a backlog of $65 billion of product that they haven't even built yet.
So that stock is going to continue to go up, isn't it?
I think it's going to do well for years to come. And then you add on that the fact that we still make the best earth moving equipment in the world, and the developing nations still want to become developed. Look at our highways.
Yeah.
I mean, the state of disrepair of our
Yeah.
transit system out
Yeah,
there.
and I don't care, as we travel down to my daughter's place in Perdido Key, which is just...
There's no highway that's not under construction.
Right, and you see the big yellow 90% of the time.
Yeah.
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 It's amazing what CAT
Go to
goes
Northern
on.
Michigan, same
We're going to talk some more. John Disharoon, our special co-host this morning, along with Terry Chamberlain, Sports with Mike Olson. In the next hour, we're going to talk about the Peoria County Triad, which is an important agency that you're going to learn about from Amy Chenal. So stay tuned for that. You're having breakfast with Roger and Friends on WAZU FM 90.7 in Peoria, Illinois. Also on YouTube. Thanks for being a part of our program, boys and girls. Stay tuned. More coming your way. Everybody, it's Tuesday, the 14th of July. Let's open with a check of the weather, and it's brought to you by Spoon River Home Health, making a difference in the lives of their clients. They've been around helping people in their homes since 1993. They do it with skilled nursing to bathing and personal care. Your choice matters at Spoon River, and you make those choices by calling 309-245-0723, Spoon River Home Health. Here's today's live weather forecast. This morning we have scattered areas of fog. Otherwise today it's going to be a hot one. 93 with a heat index of an even 100. The overnight low 72. Tomorrow, more fog early in the morning, sunny, and we're up to 94, and the heat index 101. How about Thursday? It'll be 94. Friday, a good chance for showers and thunderstorms, a high of 92, and Saturday at 93. It is a hot week of weather. Currently our temperature at 71 degrees, and now the news with Terry and John. Good morning to both of you.
Good morning. The tributes for Senator Lindsey Graham continue to pour in from all over the country, and in fact, the world. The 71-year-old South Carolina senator died Saturday from a cardiac incident involving a tear of the aortic artery. Questions immediately arose as to who would replace him in the Senate. They've been answered with the appointment of his sister, Darlene Graham Nordone, by South Carolina Governor Henry McMaster. She will be sworn in as senator at 1:30 this afternoon by Vice President J.D. Vance. Graham was close to his sister. He adopted her after their parents died while they were young. She will serve the rest of Graham's term, which will end in 2027.
And in the meantime, Republicans will hold a primary election August 11th to select the nominee for the next 6-year term. Graham's sister so far has not indicated whether she will file to be on the November 3rd ballot. At least 3 other Republicans have expressed interest. Whoever wins will be opposed in the general election by Democrat nominee Dr. Annie Andrews.
President Trump yesterday promised more bombing attacks in Iran during the night. Frustrated by Iran's unwillingness to work toward a peace agreement, the president said the leaders apparently only understand military action and devastation. U.S. military leaders say they've introduced a new warfare weapon, sea drones. The unmanned surface vessels are capable of carrying payloads up to 1,000 pounds. 3 of the vessels were used to destroy an Iranian midget submarine and a ship maintenance facility.
In local news, Bradley University President Jimmy Shadid made it official yesterday as he announced a $25 million project to renovate Harper Hall on the school's campus. Shadid, appearing on the program last Friday, talked about the need to improve campus living for students.
The two-year construction will provide beautifully designed and appointed facilities, including private in-suite bathrooms, study lounges, wellness rooms, and more. The project coincides with development of the Golden Gate entrance to the campus at University in Maine, which he also described to our audience.
You know, it's interesting you're saying the Golden Gate, and I'm thinking of the San Francisco Bridge.
Yeah.
That Golden, by the way, is Goldin rather than En, but it's still golden because it's in memory of a guy and his wife who were just absolutely not only big time on the university campus, but in the community. I don't know if you knew, I believe he was at one time chairman, certainly was a member of the Peoria Civic Center Authority Board, and was instrumental in helping us keep the Greater Peoria Sports Hall of Fame at the Civic Center. But that's another story for another time.
Kenny Golden.
Kenny
Golden.
Golden, you got it.
Peoria police are looking for a missing woman and is asking for the public's help. The subject of the search is 59-year-old Shirley Baptist. She's described as 5'5" with long gray hair and hazel eyes. If you can help find her, call police, 309-494-8357.
Peoria police are also searching for two suspects who apparently grabbed some money from an ATM machine at Peoria Community Bank in the Metro Center. An alarm sounded when the two used a vehicle to damage the banking unit, enough to access some cash. The break-in happened around 3:30 yesterday morning.
And two young teenagers were apprehended after they attempted to rob a 74-year-old man last Friday in the area of Knoxville and Thrush near the McDonald's restaurant. They fled after not being able to get anything from the elderly victim. The two, a 15 and 13-year-old, were captured by police. The older teen went to the juvie center charged with attempted robbery, while the 13-year-old went home. Want any fries with that?
Yeah.
Supersize it.
Yeah, you're exactly right.
Ameren reports some 1,700 customers in Creve Coeur lost power around 5:30 yesterday evening. No report on the cause, but workers were on the scene.
And Peoria County officials report a two-vehicle crash involving an IDOT truck last night at Smithville and Stone School Roads. A hazmat team from the Peoria Fire Department was called to the scene due to the presence of some hazardous materials. There were minor injuries, but no further details provided. And that's a wrap of the news. Roger?
That's the news. Now we turn to WCBU as a service of Morton Community Banks with over 50 branches offering a full range of personal and business banking services. Hometown banks, FDIC insured, so your deposits are safe and secure. Look for the clock tower and you'll know they have time for you, and we have time for WCBU.
From the WCBU Newsroom, I'm Rich Drager. City Manager Patrick Urick says Peoria has not been involved directly in any conversations about possible data center projects in the city. Urick says typically data center developers look for locations where they can easily connect transmission lines to the electrical power grid.
What we've seen with Peoria is that really the optimal locations would be, near some of our coal plants that we have out in the unincorporated area of the county.
Urick says Peoria is more focused on positioning itself for other industrial growth. A complete modernization of Harper Hall is the centerpiece in Bradley University's $25 million investment in improving residential accommodations for students. The building will feature suite-style and single-room options with private in-suite bathrooms, as well as collaboration spaces and community areas. Bradley President James Shadid says the project reflects a commitment to providing an environment that supports academic success. The facility upgrade will begin this fall and is targeted for completion by the fall 2028 semester. Illinois Democrats and a man whose father died from Legionnaire's disease at the State Veterans Home in Quincy are trashing a Maine U.S. Senate candidate. Nirav Shah moved to Maine after a stormy tenure as Illinois' public health director when he presided over fatal Legionnaire's outbreaks that killed 14 at the Quincy home. Now Shah wants to become Maine's Democratic Senate nominee. Illinois Senator Tammy Duckworth bashed Shah's candidacy, as did Tim Miller, whose dad died what he called a horrible death at Quincy.
I hope nobody forgets what happened in Quincy, Illinois. We lost heroes who served their country, who were promised to be cared for, and under Nirav Shah, they were not cared for.
Shah wants to unseat Republican Senator Susan Collins in a race that could dictate control of the Senate. The U.S. Department of Justice is threatening to prosecute Illinois election officials for something they say never happens. Illinois election authorities could face criminal charges for, quote, knowingly sending non-citizens ballots and then counting them. The Trump administration has sued Illinois and 29 other states that have been unwilling to turn over sensitive voter registration information to the federal government. I'm Rich Drager.
Hi, boys and girls. Thank you, Rich Traeger, and Time for Sports. With all the latest is Mike Olson. Good morning, Michael.
Thank you, Roger. Well, last night on TV, we had the Home Run Derby, the MLB, Major League Baseball Home Run Derby, and it was a thriller from Manila. But anyway, a young man from the St. Louis Cardinals, Jordan Walker, was your 2026 Home Run Derby winner. He beat out the big slugger from the Phillies and former Cub, Schwarber. And it was a great final match. They got 15 swings. Schwarber had 11 home runs. He went first. You know, I always like going second. I like going second, then you know what you have to do. You know,
Well, sure.
like in baseball, you want your outs. You want to be the home team and get in the bat last. You got the hammer. And anyway, it ended on Walker hitting 4 in a row to come. He was losing 11-8, and he snagged victory by
From
hitting
the jaws
4
of
in a row.
defeat. Now, I have a question for you, Mr. Baseball, and that is, who was the pitcher for Mr. Walker?
Mr. Walker's pitcher last night. Okay.
Because that's the key.
I said that when he won.
Yeah,
You know, I
when you
think-
have the home run contest, the batter brings along his
Yeah.
pitcher
And
to
most
throw
of the
him
time,
the
it's
gopher balls.
one of the coaches from his
Yeah,
team that
yeah.
throws BP batting practice to the team.
As-
And his name was Taryn, I believe.
Was he,
T-E-R,
but he was with the Cardinals, yeah.
Right.
Interesting to me, my grandson, who's coaching for the Bismarck Larks in the Northwoods League, guess who pitches batting practice every day to the kids?
He does.
He does.
Yeah, that's part of the job.
Yeah, it's
He
part
doesn't
of the
have
job,
he
yeah.
doesn't have a pitching
Yeah.
a bench coach.
By first
two
of the
hitting
August,
coaches.
his right arm will probably fall off.
I did that. I did that from '94 to '98 in the old Central Illinois Collegiate League for the Twin City Stars, and I got to the point where I said, guys, throw to each other down there tonight,
Yeah,
wouldn't you?
not a bad idea, because I was talking to my son. He and Julie are out in Bismarck visiting their son, and
saw that.
he said the temperatures are running around 100, 101 every day.
amazing.
And you pitch batting practice in that weather?
And then you're at the ballpark.
I said,
early.
hey,
And then
he's
you
a
got
kid.
Then you got to hit outfield and infield too.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's a.
At
Speaking
any
of that,
rate, good for Mr. Walker.
Speaking of that 100, it was 100 in Marquette, Michigan on Lake Superior on Sunday. That is very, very unusual.
Yeah.
I don't care.
But the lake is still cool.
The lake is
Yeah.
cool, I guarantee you. It didn't warm up that much. But so congratulations to the young Jordan Walker. You were asking how old he is. I think he's around 23 or 24.
Yeah,
not very old.
amazing.
So congratulations to him. The All-Star Game is tonight, 7 p.m., and it's on Fox TV. The Major League Baseball draft was Sunday. Rock Chalowski. He's a shortstop from the UCLA of the Big Ten. He was the first pick, and it was of the White Sox won the opportunity to go first, and they picked a shortstop out of UCLA, Rock Chalowski, who actually is from the Phoenix, Arizona area, went to Hamilton High School, and his defensive coach in football was Tim Doherty, a longtime Peoria resident that played at Spalding. I think he went up to Joliet Catholic for a while. Not Joliet Catholic, but was the Joliet Junior College and played. And then he coached up in Mount Carmel a little bit, but then was at Spalding, Bergen, and then Galesburg and Edwardsville before moving to the state of Texas. Jim Tomey's son, Landon Tomey, was a first-round pick, 34th overall. He's a shortstop also. Played at the Nazareth Academy up in suburban Chicago, and great high school player. Has signed a college scholarship to play at Florida State. So now, with first-round money lower end of first round money, but he's probably still talking big money. I call it life-changing money when you get up in that $1 million area, because the first 5 or 6 they're in the 4 to 6 million. So I would say, if in order to get Landon, the White Sox would probably have to go pretty close to $1 million, and to get Chalowski, they'll be going pretty close to 4 to 6 million. And then a local lad by the name of Travis Lutz out of Limestone High School, right-handed pitcher, pitched at ICC, and then he pitched at Bradley for 2 or 3 years and finished his career down at Lamar, in Lamar, Texas. He was drafted in the 17th round by the Cleveland Guardians. So good luck to Jim Tomey's son Landon and Travis Lutz, a local right-handed pitcher out of Limestone Bartonville High School. In the World Cup, we continue today with the semifinal, first round of the semifinals. France and Spain will go at it at 2 o'clock today. Tomorrow, the second semifinal game will feature Argentina, who has, by some people's claim, the best player in the world, a guy by the name of Messi, M-E-S-S-I. If you see kids running around in jerseys, they'll have a lot of...
Yeah, there's his name on it, yeah. And I think, is that the same thing as Messi Roofing? No, that's Massey Roofing.
Not quite the
That's
same.
a little plug for them.
He's getting up there. He's I think he's pretty close to 38 or 39.
Oh, man, that's
This will
getting
his
to be
last
an
World
old
Cup.
man.
But he's still recognized as one of the best. And England has a real good player, too. Big guy, I can't think of his name right now, but it should be a good semifinal match. There'll be a third-place game. I like it when they play a third-place game.
I do, too.
A lot of people have gotten
Yeah.
away from that. I think they've gotten away from it in the NCAA now, I believe. I know they have a basketball tournament, the Big Dance. They don't play a third-place game.
No, they don't.
They play 2 semifinals.
Some of the tournaments that are held during the holidays and so forth
Yeah.
will do that,
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
the
well,
big-time
they
conferences,
yes,
they don't. Well, now, wait a minute. The Missouri Valley tournament, don't they have a third-place consolation game down in St. Louis?
I don't think so.
You don't think
might,
so?
No.
Okay. All right, take your word for it. You're the sports guy.
We do in the
Why
IHSA.
we pay you the big bucks.
IHSA plays it in all their activities. So
Yeah. And the Pekin Holiday Tournament, they do
No, they
as well.
right. But so the third place game is this Saturday, July 18th at 4 o'clock, and then the championship game will be Sunday. That'll end the FIFA's 48 World Cup tournament. After about 2.5 weeks here, there were 48 countries represented, and we're down to 4, and the champion will be crowned on Sunday, July 19th, 2 o'clock game. And that's sports.
That's
at
sports.
WECU 90.7 FM, lovely Peoria, Illinois, and on the World Wide Web at Roger and Friends LS.
You got it. And this is hour number 2 of Breakfast with Roger and Friends. John Disharoon has joined us this morning. I got to thinking, you spent, did you say 5 years in Belgium? Did
7.
You, 7 years? See how quickly you lose. I didn't take Prevagen again this morning, doggone it. At any rate, football in Belgium, also known as soccer, but especially soccer. Did you go to any soccer games since Europe is alive with soccer?
I didn't, and I got a lot of grief about being an American playing football when they throw the football as opposed to using their foot on the football.
Using your hands, that's a no-no.
But when my family is tennis players, and there were 2 very good Belgian tennis players on the women's circuit at the time, Kim Kleisters and the other one. But anyway, the people that we worked with knew them. They'd gone to school with them because they were of that age. And so it was kind of cool to have local people on the world. This is when Serena and her sister Venus were very popular, and Kim Kleisters and this other gal who I can't remember
that
right
name.
now. They were at that level,
Yes.
playing the French Open and Wimbledon and all that. And so everybody in Belgium was concentrating
them
on the girls' tennis, which was kind of cool to see for
Yeah.
Karen as a female tennis player, that it was getting such notoriety in Belgium.
Yeah. It do make a difference if you had a horse in the race, so to speak. I'm going to pick your brain a little bit this morning, and as well as those of Terry and Mike, about data centers. I've never seen a development in society, in particular in industry and business, that in the early stages, relatively speaking, there was so much animosity against data centers. And I wanted to ask you a little bit about it. And the reason I bring it up, I was on Springfield Road and spent some time on the road Sunday, as a matter of fact, and continue to see these huge windmills that if they ever become outdated, where do they take the windmills when they get done? Is there going to be a stockyard over by Hopedale where they all will collect, but also the solar farms and on Springfield Road where they are taking valuable farmland to construct solar farms that employs nobody, whereas the data centers will employ thousands of people, but boy, not in my neighborhood. And so there's a lot of controversy, and data centers are having a hard time getting implemented across the United States, while China, of course, can do whatever they want to do in their country, and they do it. What do you think about data centers? Is the animosity and the opposition to it justified?
I don't think so, Roger, and two primary reasons. First of all, data centers have been around for a long time. So one of the early drivers of Caterpillar's expansion in their distributed power, which is power not coming from a power plant, but you put the power where you need it, was the development of Google and Facebook needing data centers and clean, reliable power. So CAT diesel engines and generators were supporting those projects, natural gas generators as well. Then with the influx of AI, so anybody that uses ChatGPT, Google Search, Google Photos, Claude, any of these things, where you get instantaneous answers on your phone, drives the need for more computation and analysis. And the chips are so fast now that they have to build these data centers to allow you to get instant access for it. So we are driving it as consumers, the need for these data centers to do more computations. So they've been around for a long time, but they're becoming much more prevalent now. And the whole question there was a question in Fulton County about whether they'd put one on dead farmland that isn't producing anything. It's just sitting out in the middle of nowhere. And the zoning committee in Fulton County said no to a data center. And I thought about that. And now full disclosure here, I'm on the board of Spoon River Electric Co-op, right? So we don't produce anything, we provide electricity to areas that Ameren doesn't in rural areas. But sometimes you need a big anchor taking power to stabilize power rates and power consumption for everybody else. These guys all pay for their power. They're going to pay top dollar for their power. It's not going to cost you anything. It's not going to cost you anything. They're paying for your power just like the Canton Prison pays for it, and the Canton YMCA and the Canton Hy-Vee pays for it. So people think their rates are going to go up. They can actually be stabilized because now you have an asset that is demanding constant power, and so they can purchase power in advance when rates are low and not have to go out on the grid and buy it when they're super high because you had a stabilized demand for it. There are some construction jobs, construction's always good. It usually pays prevailing wages or union wages, if Salzman was here to tell you about it. But once they get up and running, they can be monitored from New York. You might have one or two maintenance guys there to flip a switch for it, but they're not going to provide tons of jobs after the construction. But the construction and the union jobs or the prevailing wage jobs are the stuff the guys want to do. They want to get in, build it, and go on to the next one. So from a constructor's or contractor's perspective, they want to build as many as they can. If it's not going to cause your power rates to go up or your power bill to go up, I don't see the negative. And if it's sitting out in an area, most of these places are really, really remote, right? Because they don't want people and squirrels messing with them. There might be some humming, but they don't hum any worse than windmills.
Yeah.
People talk about the consumption of water because when you run electricity, you have to cool them, but you're not using any more water than say a hospital would that requires clean, fresh water. And the way the cooling systems are set up, they treat the water, they cool it, they use the same water and over. You have some evaporation, but by the time you put coolant in it, just like your engine, do you add water to your car every day? No, you do it once when you change and flush and fill your radiator. The coolant keeps it cool and the fan keeps it cool. So it's not going to be a terrible drain on water. And so there's a lot of misinformation out there, but I think people are just scared because they don't know. But everybody that I've seen that complains about this gets on their phone and wants instant access to the internet and email and AI prompts and plays their games. You know, who do you think, what engine is drawing all those games that everybody plays every morning on Factal and Wordle and all that? That's being generated by a computer in a data center based at the New York Times or outside the Journal Star or something. So I think it's a bunch of hoopla about nothing. I think they're much less harmful to the environment than windmills or solar farms. If you go out north towards Dunlap on 91, they've just taken 25 or 30 acres on the corner of 91 and Grange Hall Road or whatever, Alter Road, whatever that is. That's nothing but a sea of array of non-recyclable solar panels.
Yeah.
And then you go further towards Princeville, and the sky lights up with red lights at night. This whoosh, 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 whoosh that we could hear in Dunlap of these windmills that, frankly, when they blow up and go down, they're made out of composite material. You can't recycle them. You ought to Google windmill graveyard when they take these huge blades and huge power plants down that drive the windmill, and they can't bury them in the landfills because the EPA regulations don't allow them to put composites in the ground. So they stack them up until somebody comes up with some way to crush them down and recycle them. But they're horrible for the environment.
Yeah.
And they provide, limited power at best.
Right, minimal.
Yeah. Is it possible that when they're no longer usable, they could put them at the Bartonville Viaduct like they used to do those cars? I think those cars are gone now, aren't they?
Yeah, they had to move the cars.
Yeah. I think they had to move it. Yeah. Now they could put those windmills down to the Bartonville
But think
Viaduct.
about cars. You pull the plastic from the dash, you pull the battery and the electronic harnesses, you crush it and melt it, and you make steel.
Yep.
New steel. It feeds new steel. New steel, virgin steel, isn't virgin. It's made of 60% recyclable material and then some fresh iron ore in there. You can't do that with a fiberglass window.
You have a problem, John. You make too much sense with your argument.
Well, partly he's got a pretty good bank of knowledge, too.
Yeah, I was just saying. Well, I don't know how the rest of you see it, but here I was on Springfield Road, and on the right side as you're going south was this huge farm field and now they're busy putting solar panels on. And I think, and probably made in China, because we don't have too many companies making solar panels.
Nobody makes them.
Except for China.
Yeah.
And I think that and yet when Pekin, as an example, and they were excited about it because they thought this would add to the economic value of the Pekin area, they had people showing up in strong opposition. And when East Peoria bought the land next to the golf course owned by my dear friend and his wife Chuck Bly, right away people were worried that East Peoria was going to put in a data center in that area, and they show up in large numbers to show their opposition. And I don't understand the strong anger that they express. We don't want any data centers. But your response to it was very acceptable, and I don't know if somebody wants to rebut John, but you're welcome to call at 966-4044. And we continue this morning with our news at the bottom of the hour, as we normally do, and WAZU. Business questions and information, how about thinking about the name of Bob Manning? He's with the Grandview Capital Group at Morgan Stanley in downtown Peoria. Bob is Senior Vice President, has been in the investment advisory field for more than 27 years. Well-known family, well-known gentleman, just really a neat guy. And he can be accessed at telephone number 309-671-4653. Morgan Stanley Smith Barney, LLC, member SIPC. Here's Teri with our headlines this morning.
Tributes for Senator Lindsey Graham continue to pour in from all over the country and, in fact, the world. The 71-year-old South Carolina senator died Saturday from a cardiac incident involving a tear of the aortic artery. Questions immediately arose as to who would replace him in the Senate. They've been answered with the appointment of his sister, Darlene Graham Nardone, by South Carolina Governor Henry McMaster. She will be sworn in as senator at 1:30 this afternoon by Vice President J.D. Vance. South Carolina Republicans will hold a primary election August 11th to select a nominee for the next 6-year term. Graham's sister so far has not indicated whether she will file to be on the November 3rd ballot. At least 3 other Republicans have expressed interest. Whoever wins will be opposed in the general election by Democrat nominee Dr. Annie Andrews. President Trump yesterday promised more bombing of Iran during the night. Frustrated by Iran's unwillingness to work toward a peace agreement, the president said the leaders apparently only understand military action and devastation. In local news, Raleigh University President Jim Shadid made it official yesterday as he announced a $25 million project to renovate Harper Hall on the school's campus. Shadid, appearing on our program last Friday, talked about the need to improve campus living for students. The 2-year construction will provide beautifully designed and appointed facilities, including private in-suite bathrooms, study lounges, wellness rooms, and more. The project coincides with the development of the Golden Gateway entrance to the campus at University in Maine, which he also described to our audience. Prairie police are looking for a missing woman and are asking for the public's help. The subject of the search is 59-year-old Shirley Baptist. She's described as 5'5", long gray hair, and hazel eyes. If you can help find her, call police at 309-494-8357. Prairie police are also searching for 2 suspects who apparently grabbed some money from an ATM machine at Peoria Community Bank in the Metro Center. An alarm sounded when the 2 used a vehicle to damage the banking unit enough to access some cash. The break-in happened around 3:30 yesterday morning. 2 young teenagers were apprehended after they attempted to rob a 74-year-old man last Friday in the area of Knoxville and Thrush near the McDonald's restaurant. They fled after not being able to get anything from the elderly victim. The 2, a 15 and 13-year-old, were captured by police. The older teen went to the juvie center charged with attempted robbery, while the 13-year-old went home. Amman reports some 1,700 customers in Creve Coeur lost power around 5:30 yesterday evening. No report on the cause, but workers were on the scene. Prairie County officials report a 2-vehicle crash involving an IDOT truck last night at Smithville and Stone School Roads. Hazmat team from the Peoria Fire Department was called to the scene due to the presence of some hazardous materials. There were minor injuries, but no details were provided. And those are the headlines, Roger.
And now a check of the weather brought to you by Peoria Pet Crematory of Peoria, providing compassionate and dignified final care for family pets, large and small, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at 309-713-1898. Information available also at PeoriaPetCrematory.com. Well, we can tell you we've had some morning fog in scattered areas of central Illinois. Otherwise, today it'll be sunny and a hot one, 93 with a heat index of 100. Tonight's overnight low will be around 72. Tomorrow, more early morning fog, otherwise sunny and hot, 94, heat index 101. Thursday, 94. Friday, a good chance for showers and thunder boomers. A high of 92 on Friday, Saturday 93. And right now we are at 74 degrees, and you're having breakfast with Roger and friends. And, you know, speaking of Caterpillar, I remember a time when John Deere was much greater, larger than Caterpillar. That has all changed. But we'll talk a little bit more about that because we're delighted to welcome to our program this morning Amy Chanel. Do I pronounce that correct?
You did. Perfect. Yes.
Hey, let's hear it for Roger.
First time all year.
Yeah, you're right. I don't argue with that.
The pressure's on now, Roger.
But at least I know it's Jim Thome, not Jim Thome.
He's no Gene Sidler, but by gosh.
Well, who is anyone for? Amy, thanks for coming in.
Yes, he was.
And thanks for coming in this morning. And tell us a little bit about Peoria County Triad.
Sure. So, well, my name is Amy Chanel, and I am the Victim Services Coordinator for Peoria County Sheriff's Office. It's kind of a unique position. There's not a lot of law enforcement agencies that have somebody dedicated just for the victims of violent crimes. So I work with all victims, whether it's, a domestic battery or home invasion or anything like that. I will work with those victims through the criminal justice system and then forward to the judicial system and go through court and stuff like that. I'm also the elderly service officer, and I deal a lot with like financial exploitation, deceptive practices. Scams. It's plain and simple. Right now, Illinois is the 5th leading state for the highest amount of money lost due to scams. And I go out and into the community and I do programs. I probably do about 2 to 3 a week. And
Oh, you're busy.
it seems like,
She's good.
thank you. It seems
saw
like,
Retired teachers.
oh, yeah.
You did a great job.
Thank you. It just seems like the more I'm out there, the more these scams are coming in. I can't wrap my head around it. But we're not talking about mild scams like $1,000, $2,000. We are talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars. And we are getting these reports just in Peoria County. And that's not even including like the city police department. So we are getting these cases, and so many people is getting hurt by this. So I'm also a part of the Peoria County Triad. So what we do is we are an organization that is law enforcement, local businesses, and our senior community. And what we do is we support anything seniors, whatever they need. If they need help with lawn care, help with like paying some bills, help with anything that they can think of, safety for seniors. We always, that's what we focus on. So on August 21st, it's National Senior Citizen Day. Triad is hosting our annual Celebrating for Seniors over at Raber's. It is free to anybody who wants to come on out. We provide a free lunch. Sheriff is going to come out.
What time is the free lunch?
Well, it starts from 9 to noon.
Okay, I'll be there from 9 to noon.
Perfect.
Lunch is from 11:55 to 12.
A late breakfast and an early lunch to me, maybe.
Right?
Sounds like a good one.
It will be. It's provided by Raber's. They're partnering with us, which is fabulous.
Nice place.
They have a wonderful place. And so we're going to have a bunch of vendors there giving away a lot of free stuff. We have a lot of free giveaways. We're also having a meat raffle this year. You can purchase a meat raffle ticket. It is $1 a ticket or 6 for $5. And we are going to be raffling off a $300 meat raffle.
You know, the thing that I like about what you do is when you talk about the scams and the cheaters and so forth, so often it involves elderly people who, one of the favorite stories I like to tell about someone who was in the roofing business, knocked on the door to the elderly, and they seem to know where the elderly live, and that's why they
Yeah.
become victims, and said, I noticed you have some shingles that need repairing, and I can take care of that for you. Oh, I didn't know that, yes. Well, what do you charge? Well, I'll need $500 to go buy the shingles.
Material.
And so they'll ask for a check or cash or whatever, get the money and leave and never come back. That's a common practice, is it not?
It absolutely is. Yep. And, you know, a lot of people like to say, like you said, the seniors. Yes, it does happen to the seniors. However, these scammers are targeting everybody.
Everybody, yeah.
It seems like the news gets a hold of more of our senior scams because there's more money with it. You know, our younger generation doesn't have a whole lot of savings, so they're not losing savings. So, but I'm seeing a lot of seniors lose their whole retirements, taking second mortgages on their home, their farmland that has been paid off. It's absolutely gut-wrenching to hear these because unfortunately your first contact or your first thought is to contact law enforcement. And really it's not. It's call your bank, call your local financial institution, put a stop, put a flag on your hold, on your accounts, and then give us a call. These scammers, they're good. They're the smart people.
They're in and out, aren't they?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And they're coming
That's
from
terrible.
all over different countries.
Yeah.
And there's no way to track them down.
Yeah. How about, I know a case where a elderly woman was sold a car that had been flooded, and the dealer didn't reveal that. Is that above your pay grade?
I think
kind of
that
a case?
is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we know that the scammers are out there, and it's encouraging to know that we have an agency, and you were wearing what? How many different hats? 3?
Quite a few. Yeah.
I'm going to say. And your focus is on the victims, and sometimes we forget about the victims.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's nice that I get to work with our officers and our detectives. You know, they have that important job of getting the suspect, getting all that information, and then trying to make that arrest. They don't have to worry about the victim, so I can come in, I can talk to that victim, explain to them exactly what our detectives and deputies are doing, and explain how the process is going to work, and then I'm with them from the very beginning to that end of that case. And it could be 2, 3, 4 years, unfortunately.
How'd you decide to get into this kind of business?
My dad, I grew up in law enforcement, and my grandmother was actually the first female sheriff in the state of Illinois. And
Really? Is that right?
both my grandparents were sheriffs in Putnam County.
I'm gonna say where at.
Yep, Putnam County. And so my dad was a veteran Peoria City police officer. So growing up, that is all I ever wanted to do,
Yeah.
was be an officer.
Isn't that great? How proud they are of you.
Yeah, it is great. And I want to say I am a civilian. I took the position as a domestic violence advocate with the sheriff's office first. And so I only focused on domestic violence. So for about 4 years. And then Sheriff McCoy asked me to come on out. Yeah, chief now. Told me to come on out and asked if I wanted to do all victims. And it only took me a couple weeks to realize that that's where I was supposed to be.
Interesting.
I love being in the law enforcement sector of it. But working with the victims, working with our seniors, and the free reign that my department lets me, they know I'm out there, I'm in the community, I'm working with anybody and everything that just needs some help. And so a lot of these people, and when I do these presentations, the number one thing is I want them to have my phone number. Because when you're going through something like that, something happens to you, you don't want to sit on hold and try to figure out where you're calling and what's going on.
Yeah.
They have my direct contact. I would rather take 2 minutes out of my day to tell somebody that that's a fake check or that phone call is not real than them losing, $5,000, $10,000.
Don't take this personal, but what is your phone number, honey?
Yeah, hey, it is 309
Yeah.
697
697.
9755.
55. You've dealt with domestic violence, and I have enough information to make me dangerous. And a couple of cases that I remember in my lifetime in which men have been very violent, due usually to drinking, and the next day, I'm sorry for what I did, and so forth. Is that common?
Oh, it's so common. Victims of domestic battery have a tendency to go back to their abuser about 8 to 9 times.
Yeah, and in both of the cases I know about, I couldn't understand. I couldn't understand. Is it because women are afraid to be alone, and at least this guy who, if I can keep him from drinking, which is usually what they say, I'll never do it again, and a
Yeah.
week later the same thing happens.
Yeah, you know, there's so many different factors that play into it, and drinking, obviously, yes, is one of them. But you never know what that victim's going through. There might be children involved. She might not
Yeah.
be working, or you know, she knows that she can't
Can't
survive.
financially.
Exactly. So what I do is we talk to them, we set up a game plan, and I'm never going to tell a victim what to do. Nobody wants to be told what to do. You know, that victim who's going through that, they know what they need to do, but it might not be feasible at that time. So you get a game plan, and then they know you're there, and when they're ready to move forward, that's when they call, and we put that plan into play. And so when that happens, then that victim is more likely to follow through with everything. We also started I'm also the chairman of the 10th Judicial Domestic Violence Fatality Review Board, and it's working with the Illinois Criminal Justice Authority. And so we do 2 cases a year, and we dissect a death, fatality, domestic violence case. And,
Wow.
and we can look at all the pieces. We can interview any victims, any witnesses. We can interview the suspect if they're still alive, if they're in prison. We dissect it completely, and then we come together and see what can be changed in the community. And then we put those up for legislative changes. But more importantly, it brings our community together, and we can say, what as a community can we offer? You know, where were the holes that fell for that victim? Peoria's got a great resource. We have the Center for Prevention of Abuse. They're fabulous, and I work with them, you know, all the time with all their different divisions. Their adult protective services for our seniors, to their domestic violence, to their children, their sexual assault program, and their human trafficking program.
You know, we're talking with Amy Chanel, and when I hung up on the phone, I thought of the song "Once in Love with Amy," and then I read that you spell your name A-I-M-E.
2 E's.
2 E's.
2 E's, yes.
Right.
Thank
I
you,
said,
Mom and
But
Dad.
that isn't the song, is it, Terry? Once in love with Amy, always in love with Amy. You see such a bad side of society. Is it difficult to go home and leave it at the office or leave it at the jail, or do you carry it with you and have some sleepless nights?
I will tell you, self-care is definitely something that we have to practice. But I have been blessed with growing up, you know, in this. So I've been taught that you need to leave it at the office.
And you got a good partner.
Yeah.
It's easier said than done.
Absolutely,
as we all
especially
know,
those
no
children
matter what.
cases.
If I could add one thing to that.
You want to get on microphone?
Yeah,
Thank you.
I hear this term all the time. If I was you.
Yeah.
That is, stop.
Yeah.
I taught geometry. We're starting with a false given. You can't get a false result. I mean, a true
Absolutely.
result.
Yeah.
It's like saying 3 + 2 is 7. Okay, so now I want to know what 4 + 2 is. You know what I'm saying? John, don't give me that look. I commented on how smart you were. In geometry, you have to prove things. Back in the day, now they've kind of dummied it down a little bit.
Thank goodness
they'll
for
make
me.
you draw a circle or something, and tell it's got 360 degrees. But the point I'm trying to make is everybody's different. Everybody has pressures coming from all different sides, whether it be spouse, whether it be parents. But it seems like more people today want to say, well, you know, if I was that person, I would do this. No, well, stop. You're not that person. You know, be careful what you say. You know, and I was just glad to hear what she
Absolutely.
just said, that she does not tell them what to do.
She gives them options.
She gives them options. She gives them information that, you know, but just doesn't say, well, you know, I'll leave him tomorrow. You know what I'm saying?
It's very easy for
And I think
someone
that's
to
what
say
you're
that.
dealing with is, I think there's a religious component for some women too that say,
Mm-hmm.
no,
However, though you don't tell them what to do, you, with all your years of experience, have an idea of what segment of society is more prone to domestic violence than others. Do you not? I know it goes across all levels of income, I'm sure.
Absolutely does.
But, you know, when you talked about not telling them what to do, I was thinking of the woman in particular who stuck with her husband because, as you pointed out, she had 4 children. What do I do? Now, we know we have an agency in town that's very good at helping victims of domestic violence, and I assume you work closely with them.
Yeah, for sure. But just like he said, every case is going to be different, and you don't know what that victim is going through. And, you know, they're not going to tell you everything.
No,
And, you know, that's why I just keep that line of communication open. We talk, you know, when I first started that position, it was kind of like, hey, here you go, sink or swim. And I was like, oh my gosh, what do I do? And I'm just myself. And when victims come in, we just sit and chit chat and they open up. Because, like I said, I'm not going to tell them what to do, but I'm going to tell them all the different options that are out there. And let's kind of focus on which ones you can kind of lean towards. And then we get a game plan up. And then we let that person, let it sink in, figure out what we're going to do. If it is an emergency at that given time, in the middle of the night or during the day, something's happening, yes, we can get them to a safe place. We have those options. But a lot of times this is a long-term effect, right? So these, you know, the offenders they come back. I'm so sorry. Please don't press charges. That's our hard time. Our officers can make that arrest, you know, but once that arrest is made, then it goes to, you know, the courts. And so by that time it's 3, 4, 5 weeks, and that offender has already gotten back to a victim saying, hey, I'm so sorry. Please don't press charges. And what they don't realize is it's not the victims pressing charges. It's the state of Illinois. You know, it's our state's attorney's office.
So they can go ahead.
They can go ahead. And so, you know, I'll tell the victims, you know, you can suggest you don't want charges pressed, but you really don't have a say.
So it's out of their hands.
It's out of their hands. And it is
good.
absolutely excellent. That's what I say. Tell that offender. Say, I'll let them know, but it's out of my hands. So.
Now, here's a direct question. If you're dealing with, and I know you do probably in more than one case, are seeing a victim for maybe the 3rd or 4th time, have you ever said to that person, are you ever going to press charges? Have you ever going to leave him?
No.
You never say that?
No.
You know what? Call me up and let me get on the line, and I will. Say that.
You know, maybe in your head you're just thinking, oh gosh, if we could just get over that barrier, get over that hump, and move on to, you know, the court system and let the criminal justice system do its, you know, its course. But again, you can't until they are ready. Nothing is going to happen.
Here's a question for you, Amy. Have you ever, you said you do 2 of these autopsies every year. Have you ever run into a case where it was somebody you'd worked with? And
No, I can honestly say right
Thank
now,
God.
yes, because we actually just started this. It's a new thing for the state of Illinois. We're only the 4th judicial circuit that has this. So we have actually only just completed our very first case. I will say we have our 2nd case, but our 3rd case is going to be one of the cases that I have worked with. And so that's going to be really hard. And our judicial circuit isn't just Peoria. It's Peoria, Tazewell, Marshall, Putnam, and Stark. So our first case was actually a Marshall County case. Because sometimes we forget that those small counties out there have issues as well. And, you know, we think the 10th Judicial Circuit, Peoria, right? And with everything that's going on. So we wanted to make sure and bring those smaller counties in because they're having issues just like we are.
You know, I can tell you're very compassionate about what you do. God bless you for what you do, because you are helping people who are at a tremendous disadvantage, and to know that they have someone there for them helps them get through the crisis, even if it's only temporary.
Right.
And you might see them once again. It's almost
Several
like
times.
talking to someone who's on drugs, who go through rehabilitation, come out, they're great for 2 weeks, maybe 2 months, and bingo, they're back on drugs again. And here they are going back to the person that made, and I can see the mentality is this is what they know they have to deal with, but if they take that step to leave the guy, the future is unknown. And that's
Sure.
even scarier in the minds of many people who face domestic violence.
Yeah, for sure. But domestic violence also isn't always just partner relationship. I deal a lot with parents and children, with adult children, they get into it, there may be drugs, there may be alcohol into it, and then I'm working with that parent who is the victim of a domestic battery with their child, and no parent wants to put their child in jail. Right?
No, you're right. Boy,
And so
are you
it's
right on
so
that.
hard, and sometimes it's working with them and explaining them how things can go, and if we have to go for an order of protection, or there's mental health court, there's drug court, and so maybe that's the step that we need, to get them, to get it court ordered, to be able to get them in some kind of treatment, some kind of help. That's what the courts have worked with, put these programs in place for that. But it's telling those victims, hey, I know you don't want them to be arrested. I know you don't want the charges pressed. But if we do that route, then maybe we can get them some help. It'll be a court-ordered help, and that might just be it. So it's not just husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend cases.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up. I don't want to make light of this very serious subject, but Amy, I face domestic violence on this show every day with the people that I'm working with. But I have your phone number now,
Absolutely.
309-697-9755.
He's lying, Amy. He's lying. He's getting senile here.
Because I get up at 4:45,
I'm not
write my own script,
Drove in from Fulton County.
him every morning.
John, I'm not getting senile. I've been senile now for a number of years, so the getting is...
Kathy, it's time. Come get him.
You guys, after this is over, we can go get that order of protection.
When was this program put into place, this triad? You remember about
Triad has been put into place since 1988. Yes.
Oh, I wish I'd known them. I was a bit,
Well, you would know
no,
that.
I was a victim of home invasion. I mean, the guy.
Okay, so
put it
Triad is
in.
different. Triad is senior safeties.
So that's strictly senior safety.
Yep, absolutely. So Triad is the agency and the group in Peoria County that is law enforcement, the community, and the aging citizens.
So when we call you, you say option number one is this category,
Right.
option number two, because you're wearing, I saw 3 hats. I think she's wearing 4 or 5 hats.
Yeah, so,
pretty
but
busy.
the Victim Services Coordinator, Peoria County Sheriff's Office has actually had a full-time Victim Services Coordinator for 28 years.
Okay.
Which is
I know that. Wow.
unheard of.
Yes.
I know of one other agency, law enforcement agency, that solely has somebody for victims.
Mine was 95. So that
95?
was, just dismissed it.
And what's hard is that, we're Peoria County. So the law enforcement agency is our county jurisdiction, Bartonville, Chillicothe, Glassford. And it doesn't include the city of Peoria, which is so hard because I
No,
do
I'll
get
say, yeah.
lots of calls, and I will never, ever turn somebody down where their location's at. I will definitely give them resources, help them do whatever I can. I just might not be able to work with them completely one-on-one. I wish I could, but I'm just one person.
So have you got a badge?
I do. It's a civilian badge, but it's still a badge.
I have one too, Amy. I got it in a cornflakes box when I was 12 years old.
See, Mike and I,
still wear
we
it.
don't need no stinking badges.
Yeah. Now, here's a curious question, and we're going to talk in a little bit with our good friend Matt Wall, CPA with Gordon Stockman Wall, and that is, we talk a lot about women who are victims. Have you ever had situations where men have been victims?
Thank you for bringing that up. Absolutely. One of my worst domestic violence cases that I've worked was a male that was a victim of domestic battery.
Wow.
Yeah. You don't hear about it because
No, you don't.
they don't want to come forward. They think that it's not, it's hitting their masculinity, right?
Good point, yeah.
Absolutely, but they have children as well, and they are victims just as much as women are.
Well, I've heard, but never been able to verify it.
Yeah.
And so that's one of the reasons I bring it. Well, anyway, God bless you for what you do.
so much for having me.
Don't be a stranger.
Absolutely
if you have
not.
something, again, tell us about what's happening, Rabers, on August 21st.
Yeah, August 21st, it's National Senior Citizens Day, and we are having our Celebrate Seniors. So it's everything for our seniors. 55 and up plus, come on over, get free lunch, free freebies, and hear some great talks and learn about some resources that are free to the community.
You bet.
So if you're hidden from the silver teas, you can come.
Even if you're not.
Amy Chanel,
We'll bring
thanks
you.
for coming in.
Thank you so much.
Keep up the good work.
I appreciate
We'll
it.
be right back.
The impact of a meal goes well beyond feeding our bodies. Because when people don't have to worry about where their next meal is coming from, they can truly thrive. Like Marta.
And now we'll hear from our class valedictorian, who with our hard work never ceases to amaze us. Please welcome Marta Moreno.
And Alex.
Hey, Alex, how did the interview go? I did it! I got the job! I can't believe it! I knew it! Let's meet up later to celebrate.
And Diego.
Mom! I got first place at the science fair with my volcano project.
That's amazing, sweetie. Congratulations.
Because when people are fed, futures are nourished, and everyone deserves to live a full life. Join the movement to end hunger at feedingamerica.org/actnow. feedingamerica.org/actnow. A public service announcement brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Hey, that was an interesting conversation, wasn't it?
outstanding.
She really knows what she's doing. I wonder how she's able to compartmentalize the different areas of responsibility.
Yeah.
I mean, let's see, what she represents? At least four, I think.
Well, just, you
three.
did that, Roger. when
Senior
you had a
scam.
wife, okay, you had kids,
Yeah.
that all needed different, likes and dislikes. You had a job you had to take care of. I say as a teacher, I had to teach class, and I had to coach this sport or that sport. I had to go home and discipline my kids.
And Lori?
Yeah, no, I had to discipline Lori. take the beating. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, at any rate, fascinating stuff to say.
It's great, yeah.
Stay tuned. News, weather, sports, and Matt Wall is here.
Oh, man.
Representing the Internal Revenue Service, Social Security, and whatever else is on his agenda, we'll find out. Stay tuned. You're having breakfast with Roger. Friends on WACU, FM 90.7 in Peoria. Also on YouTube. Stay tuned for more. A pleasant good morning, everybody. It is Tuesday all day long, the 14th of July. We start with the weather, and it's presented by Advanced Medical Transport, the premier provider of emergency and scheduled ambulance service in central, western, and eastern Illinois. There are more than 500 AMT employees, men and women, dedicated to offering and providing the best in health care. Saving lives is what they do, and what we do is tell you it's going to be, not a big surprise, a hot day today. with a high of 93 and a heat index of 100. Overnight low 72. Tomorrow we'll have some early morning fog as we've had this morning, sunny and hot, and 94, heat index 101. Thursday, another 94. Friday, a good chance for showers and thunder boomers and a high of 92. Saturday, we're up to 93. Right now, we're at 76 degrees. And now with our lead story, here's Terry Chamberlain.
The tributes for Senator Lindsey Graham continue to pour in from all over the country and, in fact, the world. The 71-year-old South Carolina senator died Saturday from a cardiac incident involving a tear of the aortic artery. Questions immediately arose as to who would replace him in the Senate. They've been answered with the appointment of his sister, Darlene Graham Nardone, by South Carolina Governor Henry McMaster. She will be sworn in as senator at 1:30 this afternoon by Vice President J.D. Vance. Graham was close to his sister. He adopted her after their parents died while they were quite young. She will serve the rest of Graham's term, which will end in 2027.
And in the meantime, Republicans will hold a primary election August 11th to select the nominee for the next 6-year term. Graham's sister so far has not indicated whether she will file to be on the November 3rd ballot. At least 3 other Republicans have expressed interest. Whoever wins will be opposed in the general election by Democrat nominee Dr. Annie Andrews.
President Trump yesterday promised more bombing attacks in Iran during the night. Frustrated by Iran's unwillingness to work toward a peace agreement, the president said the leaders apparently only understand military action and devastation. U.S. military leaders say they've introduced a new warfare weapon, sea drones. The unmanned surface vessels are capable of carrying payloads up to 1,000 pounds. 3 of the vessels were used to destroy an Iranian midget submarine and a ship maintenance facility.
And in local news, Bradley University president and former baseball player Jimmy Shadid made it official yesterday as he announced a $25 million project to renovate Harper Hall on the school's campus. Shadid, appearing on the program last Friday, talked about the need to improve campus living for students.
The 2-year construction will provide beautifully designed and appointed facilities, including private in-suite bathrooms, study lounges, wellness rooms, and more. The project coincides with development of the Golden Gateway entrance to the campus at University in Maine, which he also described to our audience.
And Peoria police are looking for a missing woman and is asking for the public's help. The subject of the search is 59-year-old Shirley Baptist. She's described as 5'5" with long gray hair and hazel eyes. If you can help find her, call police at 309-494-8357.
Peoria police are also searching for 2 suspects who apparently grabbed some money from an ATM machine at Peoria Community Bank in the Metro Center. An alarm sounded when the 2 used a vehicle to damage the banking unit, enough to access some cash. The break-in happened around 3:30 yesterday morning.
And 2 young teenagers were apprehended after they attempted to rob a 74-year-old man last Friday in the area of Knoxville and Thrush near the McDonald's restaurant. They fled after not being able to get anything from the elderly victim. The 2, one 15-year-old and a 13-year-old, were captured by police. The older teen went to the juvenile center, charged with attempted robbery, while the 13-year-old went home.
Ameren reports some 1,700 customers in Creve Coeur lost power around 5:30 yesterday evening. No report on the cause, but workers were on the scene.
And Peoria County officials reported a 2-vehicle crash involving an IDOT truck last night at Smithville and Stone School roads. The hazmat team from Peoria Fire Department was dispatched to the scene due to the presence of some hazardous materials. There were minor injuries, but no details provided. And that's a wrap of the news this morning, Roger.
All right, and this portion of the program brought to you by Rob McQuett, Plumbing of Pekin, providing quality service in Central Illinois. The family-owned business serves residential and commercial customers with repairs, installations, and piping. McQuett Plumbing offers a variety of money-saving solutions, and you can reach him at 309-241-0771. That's 241-0771. Now, more news from our friends at WCBU, and this is Rich. Nice guy.
From the WCBU Newsroom, I'm Rich Drager. City Manager Patrick Urick says Peoria has not been involved directly in any conversations about possible data center projects in the city. Urick says typically data center developers look for locations where they can easily connect transmission lines to the electrical power grid.
What we've seen with Peoria is that really the optimal locations would be, near some of our coal plants that we have out in the unincorporated area of the county.
Urick says Peoria is more focused on positioning itself for other industrial growth. A complete modernization of Harper Hall is the centerpiece in Bradley University's $25 million investment in improving residential accommodations for students. The building will feature suite-style and single-room options with private in-suite bathrooms, as well as collaboration spaces and community areas. Bradley President James Shadid says the project reflects a commitment to providing an environment that supports academic success. The facility upgrade will begin this fall and is targeted for completion by the fall 2028 semester. Illinois Democrats and a man whose father died from Legionnaire's disease at the State Veterans Home in Quincy are trashing a Maine U.S. Senate candidate. Nirav Shah moved to Maine after a stormy tenure as Illinois' public health director when he presided over fatal Legionnaire's outbreaks that killed 14 at the Quincy home. Now Shah wants to become Maine's Democratic Senate nominee. Illinois Senator Tammy Duckworth bashed Shah's candidacy, as did Tim Miller, whose dad died what he called a horrible death at Quincy.
I hope nobody forgets what happened in Quincy, Illinois. We lost heroes who served their country, who were promised to be cared for, and under Nirav Shah, they were not cared for.
Shah wants to unseat Republican Senator Susan Collins in a race that could dictate control of the Senate. The U.S. Department of Justice is threatening to prosecute Illinois election officials for something they say never happens. Illinois election authorities could face criminal charges for, quote, knowingly sending non-citizens ballots and then counting them. The Trump administration has sued Illinois and 29 other states that have been unwilling to turn over sensitive voter registration information to the federal government. I'm Rich Drager.
Rich, thank you so much. We have a lot of sensitive information on the show, and we will talk about it in a little bit. In the meantime, it's not so sensitive, I think, to have sports with Mike Olson, assuming you filed your taxes by now, Mike.
I did.
Okay, good.
Okay.
So,
thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, last night there was the 2026 MLB Major League Baseball Home Run Derby. And it was one of the first times I've been able to watch the whole thing, and it was actually pretty interesting. It had a great crowd. This was in Philadelphia. The place was sold out. I don't imagine the tickets for the Home Run Derby are real high. Obviously, I don't want to go to the All-Star game tonight because you're probably going to pay $1,000 or a couple thousand.
Listen, nothing's cheap from the major leagues.
Yeah.
When you say not real high.
Right. Well, but I'm just saying, compared to going to the game, I'm going to take my son to either the Home Run Derby or the All-Star game.
Oh, okay.
See what I'm saying? The All-Star game, you got people coming in from all over the country.
Yes.
The Home Run Derby, yeah, you'll get a little overlap, but it's basically, I heard they were even, one sponsor, I think it was Geico, they were giving away big gloves, believe it or not, during the day, and then also
Were
giving
they
tickets.
really?
Yeah. Yeah, and I say big gloves. I mean, they look like they were. How people wear those big hats now.
Yeah.
They got a big glove that's
I see.
twice.
It's not really a fielder's glove.
It's not, but
It's a play.
it can be used to catch a ball that's coming at your face if you're on the right
Well,
field.
don't put it in front of your face.
Yeah, keep yourself away from that ball. But anyway, last night a young cardinal by the name of Jordan Cardinal. That's not Cardinal of the Catholic Church. That's a Cardinal with the St. Louis
bird?
Cardinals. Anyway, Jordan Walker won it in big fashion, really. He was facing old Strugger Schwarber from the Cubs at one time, now with the Phillies. And Schwarber ended up hitting 11 out of 15 tries, which is outstanding. I thought he had, and he was, of course, a hometown favorite playing in Philadelphia now. And the Home Run Derby and All-Star game was in Philly. So they were all jacked up about that. And then all of a sudden this young kid gets up, I think he's 23 to 24 years old, Jordan Walker, and he's 6'6". He's a man, and he didn't seem to be fazed by it because whenever he'd pop out, the place would roar. When Schwarber had a home run, the place would roar. But they were trying to get into his. He even kind of smirked a couple times then next time, boom, he hit it out. But he got down to the point where he was losing 11-8, like with one homer. He had one out left to hit a homer, and he did. And then if you hit a homer on the last one, you get to keep going until you don't hit a homer. Well, he hit 4 in a row, believe it or not, to beat the hometown hero, and it was pretty exciting. So the 2026 Home Run Derby champion is a St. Louis Cardinal by the name of Jordan Walker. Congratulations to him. The All-Star game is tonight in Philadelphia, 7 p.m. start on Fox TV. The Major League Draft took place this past weekend on Sunday. Rock Chalowski was the first pick. He's a shortstop from the Big Ten, UCLA. Doesn't sound right, but UCLA is in the Big Ten now, along with Southern Cal. He was the first pick. He's out of the Phoenix, Arizona area, and for some of our local sports fans that remember the name Tim Doherty, who was a local football coach that went to Edwardsville, then to Galesburg, and I think he's now in Texas, down in one of his defensive backs was Rock Chalowski, and he ended up texting me yesterday saying, hey, that kid played for me. So he is going to have about, you might want to jot this name down, he's probably going to get $4 to $6 million. That's what's, if you're drafted in the first couple of picks of the Major League Draft, it's $4 to $6 million. That's what they call the slot money. That's what you can expect, slot money. And it's all guaranteed in baseball. It's all guaranteed. No injuries don't affect anything. Even lack of performance doesn't affect anything. And there's a lot of people making a lot of money on that. Jim Thomey's son, he's in the news, Landon Thomey. He's a shortstop out of Nazareth Academy High School up in the Chicago suburbs. He was a first-round pick, 34th overall. He'll have to make a choice now whether and he also was drafted by the White Sox. He'll have to make a choice whether he gets in their minor league system, because he will have to spend a couple days in the minor league system, probably a couple of years. He's only 17 or 18 years old right now. And he's already signed a full scholarship to go to Florida State, which is down in Tallahassee, which is an excellent baseball program.
Is he built like his dad and his uncle
No,
and his
well,
grandpa?
he's built more like his dad when his dad was that age.
Well, yeah, when he was younger, he was a skinny
just an
kid.
average
Yeah,
looking shortstop.
yeah.
Maybe 6 foot, maybe 175 pounds. I coached against him, and in fact, he used to hit out at the batting cages my brother and I and Terry Knapp had at the Sports Emporium. We let him come out and hit because we were smart enough to know that he might have a nickel in his pocket down the road, and you're always looking for some donations. And but no, but Jim got just, I always like to tell a story. I remember when I was on the scouting trail a little bit for Major League Baseball, and they'd start talking about Tommy, and one of the younger scouts said, well, he's probably, I don't want to implicate him, but he might be doing something he shouldn't be doing. He got so big. I said, no. I said, you should see his brothers. He's got a brother that's Chucky Jr. is bigger than Jimmy is.
And his dad wasn't a small guy.
The dad wasn't
either.
small, but Chucky Jr., who's the older boy, he's even bigger than Jimmy is. Yeah, I'm tall, a lot taller, and maybe not quite as thick, but they're big men. So I said, and then I knew Art told me too. It was Chuck's brother, and then there was Art Senior.
Mike, I love how you're talking to the two guys. Could you talk to the microphone?
I'll talk to that microphone. That's my lack of experience in radio. I'm more of a.
He thinks he's on stage.
That's
and
right.
he's talking to everybody, walking away from the microphone.
Yeah, that's right.
This is what we call writing gain, and I'm having a hard time.
But anyway,
yes.
I'd also bring up one other man, Travis Lutz. He's just graduated from Lamar University down in Lamar, Texas. He had pitched 2 or 3 years at Bradley, got in the transfer portal, and ended up down in Lamar in good weather and had a great year. He's the 17th round pick of the Cleveland Guardians. The World Cup is finally going to climax this week. France and Spain will go at it at 2 o'clock today in the semifinal match. Argentina, led by the famous Messi, will play England at 2 o'clock tomorrow in Atlanta, Georgia. And then the third place game is July 18th, Saturday at 4. And the championship game in the New York metropolitan area Boy, that'll be a big day. Sunday, July 19th at 2 o'clock. So good luck to those people as they battle for the World Cup, which they do every 4 years like the Olympics. So that's sports on WACU 90.7 FM on your radio dial and on the World Wide Web. Roger and Friends, LS.
You got it.
Thank you.
You know, I love this guy. He knows everybody. I mean, he has contact all over the country. Here he's talking about a guy that's down in Texas. Is that right? Is he down there?
Arizona, I'm sorry.
Well, Arizona, Texas, who in the hell it's county. But at any rate, you know everybody everywhere. It's just absolutely amazing.
You know, when you spend 38 to 50 years in education and, you know, had great experiences at both Michigan State, Bowling Green, and the lovely city of Peoria.
How do you know John Disharoon?
John Disharoon and I were co-workers with the Peoria Rivermen. He was the skating instructor. No, we worked on the stats crew together. That's it.
Did
that's
you
right.
really, John?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
And Mike and Lori.
We both had a common friend by the name of Larry Brandon. Larry Brandon was the actual scorekeeper at that time.
When he came,
When he came, we'd have to fill in occasionally for him.
Well, now, did you know Matt Wall?
Well, I knew the Waws. I knew John Waugh, and I knew Timmy Waugh, and some of his relatives.
Now, was there a wall company that was in East Peoria? Are you connected with them? Were they in the scale business? Was that what it was?
No. That's Walls.
Waugh had the annual fish fry.
Wall had frozen food. There was a
Waugh
had
had
frozen foods.
Yeah.
And there's a story behind my dad's grocery store, Roger.
Yeah.
In the early 50s, Charles Manson robbed my dad's grocery store.
Did he really?
On South Adams Street.
Where was your dad's grocery store on South
Adams? Down there by, going over the viaduct to Bartonville. It's right by the Lincoln.
Was that near the A&W stand?
Yes, just this way.
Is that? I didn't know that.
So he, there was another grocery store right next to it, and there was only a space about this wide in between the two of them. And I guess my dad's store was built first because it had a window in there. Well, he shimmies his way in there and gets in there and steals $1,500. My grandpa hid it in a coffee can.
You said 1950?
Yeah.
That's a lot of money.
And then he decides he's going to come back a couple of weeks later.
Well, he being Charles Manson.
Charles Manson, yeah.
He needed more money.
Yeah, and he comes out of it and he gets in this car. He thinks it's a getaway car, but it ends up being the police car that he got into.
Was he that dumb?
I don't know.
Well, what was Charles Manson doing in Peoria?
Well, his mom was his mom was kind of a lady of the evening, so to speak.
Okay.
So yeah, and
I think I know what you mean.
I know what he means.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that was
Colin.
that was his first crime.
No kidding.
Yeah.
And to see if they had, was he found guilty? Did he go to jail or did he get away with it?
Yeah, they got him, but he got out, and he was bouncing all over the place. And
went on to better things.
Yes.
Well, that's one way of putting it, a little different.
Yeah, he was a strange guy. But this was when he was
no kidding.
Like 14 to 15 years old, maybe, at that point in time.
I've got one too. Richard Speck.
Yes, Richard Speck.
That was a trial here in Peoria for the
1960s.
Well, let's talk about something that we all love, and that's Social Security.
But Speck was actually in Marquette, Michigan, my mom and dad's hometown for a while. He was on the ore boats, working on the ore boats, and he used to hang out in Marquette, Michigan, way up in northern. Next thing I read about him, he's on trial here in Peoria. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember him too.
Yeah, he was
when you get a knock on the door, Matt Wall, CPA. By the way, explain, you are a CPA, a certified professional auditor, a public accountant. Do you have to go to school to get that? Do you have to take a test? How do you get certified as a certified public accountant?
Once you get out of college, I went to Bradley, and then I went to DePaul grad school, and then I took the test. Back then it was like 4 straight days all day long, and
Grueling, very grueling.
yes,
Very grueling.
by the Friday afternoon you were out of it. But I passed, and then I got started, and
When you were growing up, were you good with numbers? Did you like adding?
I went to
small-
St. Bernard's, and we had a bunch of good teachers there that taught math, and it was we were good. We were good in math.
Yeah. Well, I don't know when you say we. There's the
like-
whole class,
St. Bernard's got-
or was
We
it
got all kinds of
Matt Wall?
we got all kinds of CPAs come out of St. Bernard's.
Give us a
Really? Is
couple
there-
names.
Mark Schmidt, Bobby Schmidt, Casey Schmidt. Those are three brothers. They're all CPAs.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. I hadn't heard that before. I'm trying to figure out how young you are in relation to Ray LaHood, because Ray went to St. Bernard's.
Oh, he's
as
older,
well.
way older than me.
Take that, Ray.
He was a teacher too.
That Holy Family.
Yes, he was.
Holy
exactly
Family.
right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, in fact, I'm his son's treasurer for his campaign.
For his campaign.
Darren,
okay.
yeah, Darren. I was looking at it yesterday.
How's it looking?
Looking good. He's got
Okay.
plenty of money.
Okay. Well, at any rate, my initial question was, if you have a knock on the door and you had your choice between the IRS and Social Security, which one would you answer, and why?
Probably Social Security,
Okay.
because there could be some hanky-panky going on if you collected Social Security from somebody that was already dead and didn't tell anybody about it. But it's mostly just you made too much, and they're trying to collect part of it back, and that's what I was researching yesterday on how to fight that. with
How to
the
fight.
Social-
You know, I'm glad to hear you say that, because, as you know, I know about a particular case where this person has been, you might say, audited at least three times, where they've said, "Oh, we paid you too much money," and the person is now above Social Security age, and they want you to pay. They made the mistake. They overpaid multiple times in the year 2022, and in 26 they send you a notice saying, we paid you too much money, so we're penalizing you,
A scam to me.
and we want our money back.
Yeah, it's over $4,000, which that's a lot of money for somebody that's on Social Security.
Exactly right. So they make the error, but you get the penalty.
Yes.
There. What kind of a system is that? I thought the government is supposed to be helping people.
Well, there is forms that you can fill out, and there's what they call an SSA, which is Social Security Administration dash 561. That's what they call a request for reconsideration. So you take your stuff and your tax returns in, and you can actually fill that form out online at Social Security. .gov, I guess it is. And then there's another form, 632 form. It's a request for a waiver and that's if you know you're too much, but you ask for the waiver anyway. It's probably harder to get that.
But the worst they can do is say no.
Yeah, you might as well go through and give them all your tax goods. So I ran tax returns, and I put it into AI, artificial intelligence, and asked ChatGPT if this taxpayer qualifies for a request for a waiver, and they said yes, it'll work. So you got to take your tax returns in for 4 years, and which happened the first 2 years. Yeah, the ChatGPT said yes, she is overpaid for the first 2 years. But her last 2 years were not good, and that's the ones that she can present to them and get the thing lowered. May not get it all down to nothing, but at least get it lowered so she doesn't have to pay the $4,000. So that's what you should do.
Yeah.
So what's the maximum you can earn before they start?
Yeah,
talking
it's
about-
not. She was not too far, but she was in her 30s, self-employment income in a couple of years there, and the last 2 years there wasn't much at all, but they didn't catch up with it yet. They haven't caught up with
Yeah.
it.
Isn't that something?
But well, I had one, and Mr. Olson here probably knows about this one. Well, when you're a teacher, and you worked at McDonald's, let's say, when you were growing up, and then
Sure.
you went to college and became a
Went to work
teacher.
with the park district, yeah.
You get TRS, right? And then you get Social Security on top of that. Well, one of my friends out of the clear blue sky gets a letter from the Social Security Administration saying he was overpaid by $17,000. $17,000.
Holy cow.
And
3 times what I made my first 2 years.
yeah, he wasn't real happy. He protested it and he lost. Well, at that point in time, they changed the rule. Well, now you can get Social Security and TRS at the same time.
I do.
And they waived that $17,000 that he owed him. So that was great. I didn't do anything, but he.
Yeah. What is the formula? I've heard all kinds of variations to the answer to my question to determine how much money you're going to get when you reach 65, although you can take it at 62.
Yeah.
What is the formula? I've heard, well, it's your last 4 years of earnings, and then I've heard it average over 10 years. And what formula does Social Security use to determine how much your monthly check is going to be?
Yeah, I have some taxpayers that they get like $60,000 a year in Social Security, but just because they were over the Social Security limit every year over the years. But mine is I took mine at Social Security age, which was at 66 and 6 months, and then I got the full benefit because I can work too and get the same amount. If you work, if you go to a normal retirement age, you can still work and get the full amount. If you go early, then you can't do that, and it's not as much. But people, they want to get out of working at 62, so they just start drawing, but they don't get as much as if you get to normal retirement.
Well, that I realize, but my question, Matt, is how do they determine, let's say I'm going to retire at 65, how do they determine how much money that I'm going to
I don't
get?
know
What's the
the formula. I don't really know what the formula is. Mine's about 30-some thousand a year, it's $3,000 a month, I think mine is. So it comes in handy.
Well, is it based on how much you made during your lifetime?
Oh, yeah.
How much you made the last 5 years of your life, working life?
I don't know the answer to that one. It's a number of
Well,
years.
could you come back tomorrow with the answer?
Yeah, I will.
Okay.
You might have to work a little bit longer, Roger.
Listen, right now I'm losing money, but at any rate, I've always wondered that. I know that people argue over whether or not to take it at 62 or wait until 65. You did my dad's taxes, and as you know, he worked, I think, until he was 87.
Yeah,
but
he
he
did.
started taking, and I helped him with his financial affairs. I couldn't believe the Social Security check that he was getting each month, because I think he waited until he was 72. Is that
Yeah,
you
and people
recall?
do that, but I don't really recommend it because it takes you about 15 years, maybe. I'm
To
guessing,
make up the difference?
Make up the four years that you don't
That
get
you
anything,
stayed working.
which is 30. That's $30,000 a year times 4. That's 120,000 you have to make up.
Yeah.
For the once you turn 72, and then you have to weigh well, my health isn't the greatest, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So you try to even it out. But, my sister, she went at 62, but I told her not to, but she did. That's fine. It's all what you want to do. You're not going to get as much.
Roger, I'm going to throw an assist here to our esteemed CPA. Social Security calculates your benefits by indexing your 35 highest earning years for inflation, determining your average indexed monthly earnings, and running that number through a progressive formula to find your primary insurance amount. So if you work 50 years, they pick out your 35 highest, they index that for inflation, discount it by about 60%, and run it against this progressive formula, which is really how long they think you're going to live, and that your final payment is adjusted based on whether you file at 62 or 60. 6.
Okay. There's something else that comes up. By the way, I didn't follow that at all, but...
That's why I didn't know the answer to it.
Even with the explanation, didn't. But every now and then, they, at the end of the year, they send you a letter telling you what they're going to do in January and talk about another check. What's that all about? I'm not arguing about it, but I've gotten a letter saying, here's what you're going to be paying, what we're going to pay you in the next year, and it's based on inflation. Am I right? They
Yeah,
use-
we get a COLA increase,
Yes.
which is usually eaten up by Medicare then.
Yeah, you're right.
The last year, it was 3%, I believe, and then the year before that, it was 8%. So we had a really big bump 2 years ago.
Yeah, 2 years ago.
And then last year was 3.2 or something like that. But,
Yeah. But then you get an extra check, and I never quite, I'm not complaining, obviously,
Yeah,
but I didn't quite understand.
you got one?
No, I did not get
I
an
did.
extra check.
Oh,
I
too
did.
bad you guys were.
I guess you have to be
Obvious.
90 years
I
old to
guess
get an
so.
extra check.
He's a notch baby.
No, I'm an ouch, ouch, this, ouch, that.
Well,
It is.
What I'm afraid of is not me necessarily, but the next generation. How are they going to get Social Security up to snuff? Because it's not funded properly.
Yeah, well, they said by the year 2036 they're going to be out of money for
Yeah.
Social Security.
Yeah.
So I won't have to worry about that. So good luck to you
guessing I
young
do.
people. Yeah.
Well, hopefully, but I'm guessing they're going to raise, because right now you pay Social Security up to $160,000 of earnings, and there's a lot of people that make way more than that. Baseball players and a lot of people.
Radio hosts.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know about that.
Yeah,
It
WLS.
wasn't me, but I agree. I don't think there should be a limit on
Yeah.
this, because you've got people, you're right, making $200,000 and $300,000, and they're
Yeah.
skipping out on that, and that's not
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, and there's all kinds of different rules. Like I had a real rich guy, and he had kids that were he was getting Social Security, but he had kids that were young. They were under 18 years old, and they got Social Security because he got Social Security.
Oh,
Because
that's not
they,
right.
they were minors, and he made all kinds of money. It was just that's crazy. I go, how do they
Yes,
get
that
Social
is-
Security?
Yeah.
I just actually learned about that. A really good friend of mine adopted a kid after their kids were older. Great life-changing experience for their kids. But since he's older and collecting Social Security, she gets Social Security because she's 14.
Yeah.
So she's going to get Social Security for 4 years until she goes to college.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. And they were twins. These two boys were twins, and they got Social Security. I go, how'd that ever happen?
Well, and that's part of the reasons why people get confused as to, it seems like people have a different set of rules for different sets of people.
Yeah.
I mean, you're scratching your head and you're a CPA.
Yeah.
Chef dandruff.
Yeah, it's crazy, and then you get into Medicare. That's going to probably go.
And that
bust, too.
increases every year, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's not good. But and I remember the first year Social Security was taxed. It's probably about 1984 or something like that and I called this lady I had as a client. She was a widow, and I go, you're going to have to give me your Social Security because now you have to pay tax on it. She goes, oh, I don't get Social Security. I've never worked. I go, oh, okay. She never worked a day in her life.
Are you kidding me? Well, many years ago, good example was my mother. My mother never ever worked. She raised 4 children, and that's what my dad wanted her to do, and she did it, and had no interest in going to work.
Yeah, but we had to tell the people that they had to start paying. And then they go, well, we already paid in once taxes, Social Security tax. Now we have to pay income tax on what we put in.
See, that's what I feel. It's double taxing. You've already paid taxes on that amount when
Yeah.
you're employed.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
so now you're reaping the benefit of getting it back, and they go, oh, we're going to tax you again.
Yes,
No,
indeed.
that's not right.
So, Matt, are they means testing Social Security? Is there a limit to what you can earn and still collect Social Security?
Good question, good question.
Yeah.
Well, there is if you're under the normal retirement age. Well, like I was 66 at 6 months. Once I got to that age, I was free to make whatever.
Yeah, see, I took it at 62, and
Yeah.
there was a limit I could make. There was like 21,000 or something.
Yeah.
That
See, I didn't do
if
that.
I'd been able to work, which I did because I was mom's caregiver, but that was built in. But then, yes, once I hit my retirement age, which was also 66 and a half,
Yeah.
then I was free to make anything.
So what qualifies? Does it have to be employment, or can it be investments, pension?
No, it's just
No, it's
employment.
employment.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So, I got to that age, and I make a lot more than the Social Security limit, but I got full benefits because I waited till 66 at 6 months, and it keeps going up every year.
Mm-hmm.
It may be 67, and then 67 and a half, and
Yeah, for my brother who's 6 years younger, I think it's almost like he's going to be have to be
Yeah.
almost 69 or 70 before
Yeah.
he can.
well, that's one of the ways they're going to try to get it solvent again, but they need to raise the limits and that type of thing to get it shored up. Cause
I just filed for mine. I'm going to be 62 this year, so, but disharoon males don't live long, so I figured time value of money, I'll start taking it now.
Comes
Because
in
if
handy.
If I wait, and I keel over in 5 years, I didn't get anything,
Yeah,
and I
there's
paid into
on
it
the
for 40
table,
years.
Right,
Yeah.
that you let go. Yeah.
Exactly. Well, you get a smaller amount, but you'll still get,
You get it longer.
yeah,
But if you don't live to 66, then
That's
you don't
right.
get anything.
Right.
yeah.
Right.
I figured I'd get some years, so I didn't want to do it at 62, because I probably wouldn't have made much after, because I still worked.
Okay, boys and girls, we need to do the news headlines and bring you up to date with news and the weather. So stick around if you would like to. And we'll start with a look at the news with Teri Chamberlain, brought to you as a service of Morton Community Bank's over 50 branches offering a full range of personal and business banking services. Hometown banks, FDIC insured, so your deposits are safe. Look for the clock tower and you'll know they have time for you. And here's Terry.
Tributes for Senator Lindsey Graham continue to pour in from all over the country and the world. The 71-year-old South Carolina senator died Saturday from a cardiac incident involving a tear of the aortic artery. Questions immediately arose as to who would replace him in the Senate. They've been answered with an appointment of his sister, Darlene Graham Nordone, by South Carolina Governor Henry McMaster. She will be sworn in as senator at 1:30 this afternoon by Vice President J.D. Vance. South Carolina Republicans will hold a primary election August 11th to select the nominee for the next 6-year term. Graham's sister so far has not indicated whether she will file to be on the November 3rd ballot. At least 3 other Republicans have expressed interest. Whoever wins will be opposed in the general election by Democrat nominee Dr. Annie Andrews. In local news, Bradley University President Jim Shadid made it official yesterday as he announced a $25 million project to renovate Harper Hall on the school's campus. Shadid, appearing on our program last Friday, talked about the need to improve campus living for students. The 2-year construction will provide beautifully designed and appointed facilities, including private in-suite bathrooms, study lounges, wellness rooms, and more. The project coincides with the development of the Golden Gateway entrance to the campus at University in Maine, which he also described to our audience. Peoria police are looking for a missing woman and are asking for the public's help. The subject of the search is 59-year-old Shirley Baptist. She's described as 5'5", with long gray hair and hazel eyes. If you can help find her, call police at 309-494-8357. Peoria police are also searching for 2 suspects who apparently grabbed some money from an ATM machine at Peoria Community Bank in the Metro Center. An alarm sounded when the 2 used a vehicle to damage the banking unit enough to access some cash. The break-in happened around 3:30 yesterday morning. 2 young teenagers were apprehended after they attempted to rob a 74-year-old man last Friday in the area of Knoxville and Thrush near the McDonald's restaurant. They fled after not being able to get anything from the elderly victim. The 2, a 15-year-old and a 13-year-old, were captured by police. The older teen went to the juvie center. charged with attempted robbery, while the 13-year-old went home. Ameren reports some 1,700 customers in Creve Coeur lost power around 5:30 yesterday evening. No report on the cause, but workers were on the scene. And finally, Prairie County officials report a two-vehicle crash involving an IDOT truck last night at Smithfield and Stone School roads. Hazmat team from the Peoria Fire Department was called to the scene due to the presence of some hazardous materials. There were minor injuries, but no details were provided. And those are the headlines, Roger.
You know, I've always wondered, gentlemen and ladies, when Ameren has an outage and you lose power, shouldn't you get a discount?
You do. They don't charge you for the power you didn't use.
Okay, that's right. I figured that was going to be your answer. Thank you, Mr. Reddy Kilowatt, for that. We'll check the weather. You know, it is warming up, but never too warm if you're in the search for a new house. Maybe you're thinking about you and your family wanting to move up, maybe move down for that matter, but you're in the market for looking for a house, and you can talk to HomeSmart Realtor Kathy Reynolds. She's available. She's been helping people now for close to 10 years find their dream home, and she's available to help you, and you can reach Kathy today at 309-696-2162. That's 696-2162. It's going to be a hot one today. High of 93, overnight low of 72. By the way, the heat index today will be an even 100. Tomorrow, we'll have some early morning fog as we had this morning. Then it'll be sunny and hot, 94, the heat index 101. Thursday, 94. How about Friday? Well, we have a pretty good chance for showers and thunder boomers with a high of 92 on Friday. That will probably add to the humidity. Saturday, 93, and right now we're up to 78 degrees, and that's a look at the weather. You know, I have wondered if you've seen, and we're talking with CPA Matt Wall of Gordon Stockman Wall, have you had any clients who've been able to take advantage of the Trump no tax on tips or no tax on overtime hours?
Yeah, I have actually, Roger. In fact, I had a waitress, she worked overtime and she got tips. So she double dipped and got two.
I guess so.
I got two credits there. But I got a lot of them that had overtime work. A time and a half, they get the half time. They don't get all of it reduced, but they get the half taken off their taxes. So
how do they record that or justify it? Is there on new tax forms?
Well,
let's say, how much money did you make overtime during the year?
They had to ask their employer last year, but this year they're going to have a requirement to put it on the W-2. So you'll have that on your W-2, what you can deduct on your tax return. And I'm sure last year people said, oh yeah, I worked overtime, I worked double time, let's say. Well, they took it all off because they didn't know the rules. They didn't know the rules, but it was not the full amount. If you had time and a half, it would be half the half time that you could subtract.
Do you believe that the Trump no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, but particularly for no tax on tips, what he essentially did was legalize what people were doing anyway?
Yeah.
For tips, maybe.
I've said that all along. That, you know.
I mean, how do you tell whether a server is putting in his or her pocket the tip and not declaring it? I mean,
it's changed quite a bit over the years, Roger. Now, people use credit cards to pay their food bills, and it goes into when they pay it, it goes into their credit card. So they don't give them cash as much as they used to. Hardly ever give cash anymore. It's either a debit card or a credit card. Mm-hmm. And restaurants are putting an extra fee in if they use a credit card because they get charged 3%, 3% or 3.5%. So they add on 3.5% to your bill if you're going to use a credit card. You're going to use a debit card, you're good. They don't charge any fee on those. So, and cash, you don't get charged extra for
It's
that.
not just restaurants. My vet did that to me back in February.
The bank?
No, my vet.
Oh, vet, yeah. Well,
Yeah, it was like, and it was big
Yeah.
old sign, but it was over
yeah.
taped to the counter. Well, I'm checking out over here, so I
Yeah.
didn't see that. So she gives me this figure, and I'm like, all right, don't have it in the checking account, so I had to use my credit card. So then when she runs it through, it was quite a bit higher, and I
Yeah.
said, what's the difference? Oh, well, it's over there. We're now adding,
Here's the
as
sign
of January
over here
1st,
that we have
3% added. Like,
most of
had
the
I known
restaurant
that, I
people-
would have.
Yeah.
Done
Well, to
something
say
different,
that's
but-
okay, I don't have my cash with me, or very few people keep cash in their pockets
No,
anymore.
you're right.
But everybody does it. I mean, I went to have a tooth pulled, and the oral surgeon right there, they're like, credit card,
Yeah.
4% fee, and I'm like, $2,900 to pull a tooth, and I didn't bring a check? I'll bring it tomorrow. I mean, you got to let me know this stuff, folks.
Well, yeah. And then, of course, places like
That was
the
$80, wasn't it?
Yeah.
well, like the Civic Center, they
Yeah.
don't take cash. You've got to use plastic. So you're screwed. You're
Yeah, you go to the Civic Center to a basketball game or a hockey game, they don't take cash.
no, you've got to use
So the last
plastic.
Bradley game I went to, and it's been a couple years ago, the Civic Center had this no cash policy.
Yeah.
And Taylor wanted a bag of popcorn and a Gatorade, it was $16 or whatever. And I put $16 on the counter. He goes, we don't take cash. I said, figure it out. You got to take cash. It's legal tender for a debt. He's like, sir, come back. I went, no, figure it out. Put it on your credit card. I've got cash. I did it.
You
And
did.
I did, and I walked away. And it was the last Bradley game I went to.
They're still trying to find him.
Yeah.
No, I mean, but it's ridiculous because
It is ridiculous.
And I know they do it because people don't know how to count and give change anymore,
Anymore,
and they
yeah.
get sticky fingers and nothing ever balances. But it says right on there, for all debts, public and private, this is legal tender. How can cash be not accepted for a debt like that?
That is interesting. I wish I'd been there to film that. Film at 10 o'clock with
We were-
John Disharoon.
My relatives own the restaurant across the street, and we were worried about charging that extra fee, but then we got into it, and he said, everybody's doing it, so...
Well,
Vary it in
they-
the prices. Don't make it that blatant. Raise your hamburger to
Yeah,
$6.60.
you know, that makes a lot more sense, doesn't it?
Because it just gets people upset when they see 4% surcharge on there, and they're like, well, and does it really cost 4% to process it? That's what the credit card gives you for giving you instant credit
Yeah.
for the restaurant.
Yeah.
You put it on there, you get paid that day.
That's
You don't have to
right.
wait 30 days for
Yeah.
it.
Right.
Yeah, but a restaurant, you don't get a meal until you pay. So it's a little different when you go to a restaurant. You got to pay when you get there, either cash or credit. And they've said that people don't mind getting this 4% because they know
Well, I do.
They're lazy.
they know that the restaurants are hurting. A lot of them are.
Yeah, they are. The
And,
margin of profit is very narrow in the restaurant food serving business.
But, Matt said something very important a couple of minutes ago about this no tax on overtime, and that is that it's not the full amount. I got a couple of friends that work in skilled trades, and they're like, hey, tax-free Sunday, I'm going into work double time on Sunday. And I'm like, well, it's not really tax-free. It's just the additional amount. And they're like, no, man, it's tax-free Sunday. And they argue with me, and I'm like, okay, well, talk to your CPA. I'm going to send them to you. Because they have this illusion, and the incentive is, I'm screwing the government, I'm taking more home. Well, you are, but the tax reduction is only on the additional pay, not the base rate.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
And it's a nightmare for the payroll person.
Well, that's why they have payroll systems.
And they have to, this year they have to put it on their W-2s. Now, last year they didn't get it done in time, so they gave them an off year there where they didn't. So I imagine there were so many errors in what they took on their returns. It's crazy, but
So there should be a treasury surplus because of that, right?
yeah.
That'll be the day. Well, let's find out. We've had some financial tips. Now, here's our pet tip of the day.
Today's pet tip is brought to you by Peoria Pet Crematory of Peoria and Lewiston, providing final care for family pets, large and small, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Their phone number is 713-1898. That's 713-1898. More information is available at PeoriaPetCrematory.com.
Pet Pet lovers are dedicated to their animals, all species from horses to turtles and of course cats and dogs. If you are a pet lover, learn these little-known, somewhat amazing facts about your pet. There are nearly 82 million pet cats in the United States at the latest count. That doesn't include the pets that have been abandoned by their irresponsible owners who have tired of them and dumped them or moved and simply left them behind. This is a cruel and inhumane treatment of a domesticated pet. They were loved pets once and didn't ask for this treatment. Domestic cats left on their own in the wild do not do well. They become ill from eating diseased birds or rodents, infected from fighting off predators, and having wounds go untreated. Or they may become food for larger prey. If they were not spayed or neutered, then they breed, causing yet another set of problems. These cats form feral colonies and become a nuisance in neighborhoods because they are constantly looking for food, breeding, fighting, and spreading disease to other pets. If you suspect you have a feral cat colony in your neighborhood, contact a local rescue group to arrange the trapping, spaying or neutering, and tagging of these cats. While this is not an ideal solution, it is a humane way to deal with an ugly problem. Be a responsible citizen and pet owner. If you can no longer keep your pet and can't find it a home, then surrender it to a rescue group or take it to the local animal shelter. Please do not abandon it and make it someone else's problem. This whisker of information has been made possible by a grant from the Corporation for Public Broadcasting in partnership with Spot, Saving Pets One at a Time, and KSBR Studios. Produced by Joseph C. McGuire and theme music by Stuardo Glasser.
Today's Pet Tip has been brought to you by Peoria Pet Crematory of Peoria and Lewiston, providing final care for family pets, large and small, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Their phone number is 713-1898. That's 713-1898. More information is available at peoriapetcrematory.com.
All right, we're having a lot of rehearsal conversation for tomorrow's show with Matt Wall and John Disharoon, who are here. John, you spent a lot of time in Florida. How are prices for, as an example, gas compared to Illinois?
About $1 a gallon less.
Oh my goodness!
Oh yeah.
And why is that? Why is well, I know why. Taxes. Illinois is one of the most heavily taxed, if not the heaviest tax state in the Union.
Yeah, Illinois and California probably have the highest taxes. And what gets me is you hear these buffoons, otherwise known as governors, talk about how the oil companies are raping the consumer when the taxes actually accumulate for much more than the profit margin from the oil companies and distributors. It's essentially break even. Right, a gas station can charge 2 cents less trying to get people in to pay $3 for a Gatorade or hope they buy a $7 pack of cigarettes.
That's why they're in the food business, to kind of add to the profit.
Yeah, they make more on a candy bar than they do on a gallon of gas, for sure. Especially with a Snicker bar being $3.50 now. Ask me how I know.
How do you know, John?
I saw it on the window.
I got a small soda at Huck's the other day. It was $1.89. You know, I had $1 out for you to give for the small soda.
You had $1 out. That's happened to me. I'll have a couple of dollars out, and then they'll say it'll be $1 more or $2 more, and I reach in like I guess I must be living in the 1940s.
It's crazy, and I drive a very economical diesel truck, and diesel fuel ranges between, when I drive from Canton to Peoria, it'll be $4.59 in Canton, $5.99 coming down Route 24. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a gallon.
That's what people forget.
To $4.39 on North Knoxville, and if I go to Chillicothe, it's $3.99. Yeah. It's a difference of $2 a gallon between Fulton County and in northern Peoria County.
On the heights and getting rid of the
and you know what makes it so confusing and upsetting to consumers is I'll give you an example. Circle K. It's got stations all over, and every one of them has a different price.
So does Casey's.
Yeah.
Casey's in,
Yeah.
in Toulon
Yeah.
is 50 cents less than Casey's in Canton.
See, they know what they can charge in certain markets and get away with it. It's a little bit of a huckster type of scheme, to tell you the truth. It wasn't that way at Bergner's. If you saw a pair of pants at Bergner's in Sheridan Village, let's say $39.99, go to the shops at Grand Prairie, it was $39.99. You go to the Pekin Bergner's, it was $39.99. But when it comes to Casey's Gas or maybe donuts are the same price.
And better yet, if you went to Bergner's and found a pair of pants for $39 and the rest for $59, they would sell you as many as you wanted at $39. If it was the same pant, because it was mismarked. I mean, that's what it used to do. Now they're like, if you pull up, they've changed the price of gas from the time I've pulled up to the time I've pumped.
Yeah.
It said
Yeah.
I take 45 gallons at a time in my truck, right?
Yeah.
And so I pull up, I'm like, oh, okay, $4.39, and I'm looking up,
You
it's
look at it.
$4.99, and I went in, and she goes, yeah, price just went up. I said, what? When I pulled up,
Yeah.
that fuel's been in the ground for a month.
Exactly. That's one of my biggest complaints.
That's
Yes.
my big argument is they're charging you for gas that's been in the tanks underneath the concrete, a price that they probably pay far less for, but now they raise the price on that same gas.
It goes up in the hour, and it takes 2 months to come.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, on that high note of love and admiration and congratulations, we wrap things up. John, thanks for coming in. God bless you. I love your shirt.
Sorry
And,
I took so much of your airtime, Roger. We'll do better next time
yeah,
with the other stuff.
I love it. Matt Wall, you always bring good news. And thank you for coming in as usual. And Mike Olson, University of Iowa baseball. I'm not sure why you have that shirt on.
Coach gave it to me.
The coach did?
He's one of my faves.
Yeah. Well, the Hawkeyes.
If he's got any 2X's, send it
We'll
my
see
way.
you next week, Mike and Terry. We will see you tomorrow. In the meantime, everybody have a great day. Remember, God loves you, and so do we. So long, everyone.